right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lunch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. How's everybody doing tonight? Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the best part, the live party, guys. Make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Let's also say thank you. Oh, I got to share the screen before we say thank you to my6shirt.com, the only place to get whatever is your persuasion. And of course, the only place to get your very own, the Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right, what is good? What is good? We got indie film in the building. We got Soil the Soul in the building. We got Zippy the Strange in the building. And already, we have got a sponsor of the stream. That is right. Every single donation comes with a treat for Morty. And the highest treat, oh, he's being picky today. All right, he's going for the peanuts. No. Oh, all right. Well, we're saving them here for you, indie film. Thank you. Welcome to the party, guys. We're gonna have fun tonight. So it's been a while since we kind of did a standard, I just got my hat on, like a standard show where we're talking about dating. I know we covered the Cheesecake Factory lady with Dr. Evil Genius, and that was awesome. But he kind of makes me feel like I don't really know what to know. You know what I mean? So we are jumping right back into the sack with another a live panel debate about is OF. We're still a little early. They're gonna say it all the time. I know it's gonna get demonetized, but thank you to Indie Film. But is OF exploitative of its customers? That's the question. That's the running poll. Guys, before we start, if you're watching the replay, let me know what you think before we begin, and then we're going to do the same one after. Thank you again, Indie Film. Let's do it.
The floor is all yours.
All right, starting off first. So I'm going to keep my opening statement pretty quick because I honestly don't think there's going to be too much disagreement. But in essence, I do think that OnlyFans exploits the customers the same way a casino exploits its customers. It's something that is a conscious, I guess, scam in a way, right? Because you're paying for a quasi relationship. That's what the guys think they're getting. In reality, they're chatting with some dude in India who's pretending to be the girl. And it's like this quasi relationship that they form, which doesn't really ultimately lead to any kind of good outcome. However, people are adults and they should be able to make their own decisions. The only caveat I would say is that there should be some kind of disclaimer that says, just as an FYI, you're not chatting to a hot girl, you're chatting some dude in India.
Fair enough. And that's exactly what Zippy the Strange is actually saying here. You cannot exploit the willing. OF is no different than normal streaming. It feels good to get attention and donate. So donate to the Indian Jesus. All right. Shout out to Melted Mind Media, another awesome YouTuber in the building. Welcome to the party. Just drop the link to his channel, guys. Definitely go check him out. How are you doing, brother? So that's, essentially the argument from one side. And it seems like that is where most of you are so far. So let's see what the other side has to say. Oh, and so if we're not familiar, this is Alex from Playing with Fire. This is NotSoErudite. And then on the other side, we have Destiny and Farah. I'll show them when we get there.
NotSoErudite.
Short and sweet.
Okay. Yeah, so I think when it comes to the case of OnlyFans, I think it's a conversation that needs to be engaged with honestly and openly. Because I feel like most of the people that tend to talk about this are extremely biased to their side. They either want OnlyFans content creators to be slandered as dirty, degenerate whores who are corrupting society, or there's kind of on the other side this like romanticization of OnlyFans. Is it exploitative? I would say yes, obviously so. But the benefits of the platform probably actually outweigh the harm that it's doing. And so I think it's a type of platform that if you just honestly looked at some of the issues with it and corrected those, you would have overall a safer sex work platform for women and a easy access form of sexually explicit material.
She starts out a little soft-spoken, but she gets into it. So just hang in there for now. Indie Film with the what's her OF account? Asking for a friend. She looked good. Unfortunately, she's not the one on the stage with the OnlyFans.
For the consumers.
So this is the people who are on the negative, on the net, or on the affirmative. That no, negative. So they're on the other guys are saying yes, it is exploitative, and these two are saying no, it's not exploitative. This is an OnlyFans model, and of course, you guys know Destiny. Zibi says, so many adults are so childish and or immature. They do not seem to understand. You kind of need to grow up to fix your issues with being exploited. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well said.
Okay, I don't think it's exploitative at all. I think it's actually a net good for society, for both the creators and the consumers. To respond to Alex's point about there needs to be some sort of caveat that you're not speaking to an actual sex worker, but maybe a typist. Typically, it's a hybrid between the creator and the typist. And also, when you're engaging with a sex worker, you're looking for a fantasy. Like, you're already forfeiting a three-dimensional relationship with a woman because you're looking for an instant response. Like, I'm an OnlyFans creator, and guys are more pissed if they don't get an instant response than if they're talking to an actual woman. They're looking for that cyborg relationship in a sense. In the same way, when you'd go to a strip club, you don't want the girl who's going by Crystal to tell you her real name, and you don't want her to actually tell you that she feels disgusted by the way you're touching her.
All right. So, I mean, not a bad argument on either side. There's a way to see this from either perspective, and I tend to think that it's not exploitative because, you know, of kind of what she just said. But I'm open, and let's see where it goes. Infilm says, the only internet satisfaction I've ever paid for is the Indian Jesus, and it feels good. It feels good on this side too, brother. Thank you so much. Very, very, very much appreciated.
You're looking for the fantasy. It's sexual escapism, and so to act like it's exploitative to, I don't know, to fulfill that fantasy for guys is just counterintuitive to the whole reason why guys, you know, engage with sex workers.
Yeah, I think that's a good argument.
I think that when we talk about exploitation and we talk about a service as exploitation, I think we have to be careful to define what exploitation is. I think that oftentimes when people talk about sex workers being exploitative of the men that purchase their services, it feels like the definition that we're using for exploitation is there is a need that's being fulfilled by another person that could be fulfilled by somebody else.
There's a need that's fulfilled by a person, by another person that could be filled by somebody else. That's his definite. Okay, I don't know if I would define exploitation that way, but we'll see how he uses it.
And for some reason, it's just replaced kind of a unique burden on sex work for girlfriends, or I guess in some cases boyfriends, to be fulfilling these needs. And if that need isn't being fulfilled, then we call the other person fulfilling it, the sex worker, somebody who's partaking in exploitation. But we don't apply this standard to anything else. When I moved out of my parents' house, you know, they didn't cook food for me, but I wouldn't claim that Applebee's is exploiting my lack of having a parent in the household. I wouldn't say that because my mom doesn't like sew my clothes that Walmart is engaging in the exploitation of my desire to have clothing.
I mean, that's a really strong argument. That's a really strong argument. How can you have, if somebody understands what they are purchasing and they decide to purchase it and they get what they purchased, where's the exploitation? Yeah, I'm with the soul so far. And Film says, okay, I was going to bring this up. Maybe we should talk about why so many men are willing to pay for this. What is going on with society that this is a thing? Absolutely. But I mean, we talk about this all the time, is that the standards that women have are skewing things so that the average dude is getting no play, and the dudes who are getting play from all the same women. So the women are seeing, you know, the one guy who has his pick of the litter, and then assume that every guy is like that. And then similarly, guys see girls who are, you know, just looking for, you know, the 6'6" and assume that every girl's like that. And so we're just getting further and further and further apart. But that doesn't mean that, sexual desire goes away. Now, why P-Hub is not good enough? I don't know. But that's certainly why it exists. And bringing it down to attention. It's all about attention, indeed.
And even for more like personal services, right? Like a massage parlor is not taking advantage of my lack of having a partner to rub my back.
Shout out to Unwanted Foe. Welcome to the party. So you have to go through a process to sign up. Link a CC or whatever to an account, and hopefully prove you're over 18. It isn't exploiting the customers. All right. So it seems like we're all on the same page. And ironically, we're with the liberal Destiny and against the red pill dude here. So very interesting. And so the soul says, yeah, well, yeah, Zippy, in a way, sure. Definitely not exploitation. At least I don't see how. And that's, you know, that's what NotSoErudite and Alex are going to be arguing.
A therapist isn't taking advantage of me not having a good friend to talk to. An apprenticeship that I might pay for isn't taking advantage of me not having like an uncle or father to show me a trade. So I think that when we talk about exploitation, I think the really important thing is we have to define that exploitation is in some sort of transaction with somebody that doesn't have the wherewithal to actually consent to the activities taking place.
So it doesn't have the wherewithal to consent to the activities taking place. That, I think, is a much better definition. That somebody is doing something where they don't have the wherewithal to actually consent to what's going on. That they've given consent, but it's not informed consent.
So, for instance, we can talk about the exploitation of children. A 9-year-old might not know the damage they're doing to their health by working in a coal mine. That's why labor of children is often considered exploitative, is because they don't know the risks that their body might be taking in order to engage in certain forms of labor.
So this is where they have an opportunity. This is where they have an opportunity to jump in and say, okay, well, these OF girls don't know what they're getting into. These guys who sign up and just, they're just curious, they don't know what they're getting into. So that, I think that's going to be the angle. Zippy says, a good question to ask. Are loot boxes exploitation? Assuming if only adults are buying, would an adult realize it's gambling? So I'm not super familiar with loot boxes. I'm familiar enough that it's not worth taking a detour. I would essentially say that it is that adults should understand that it's gambling, but as I understand, it's targeted towards kids, and so that's the issue there. But good question.
Or if we talk about like scams, old people might think that there really is a poor dude in Nigeria that just needs $500 in order to lock up his $1 million of funds from his Nigerian king father. So we would call these things exploitation because either one, there's an inability from one side of the person to actually consent knowingly and with full information to the activity because they just don't have the capability of it.
So that's premise one. If there is not informed consent, then we are talking about exploitation. So if there is informed consent, then we go to the next point.
Or two, on the other side, we've got somebody engaging in a dishonest transaction. I think that when we talk about sex work as a whole, we're going to have to fulfill one or the others of these sides.
Right. So it has to be either the lack of informed consent or what was the word he used? Shit, he just said it.
When we talk about sex work,
dishonest transaction. So if it's a dishonest transaction in some way. Zippy said, yes, loot boxes have kind of died off some due to the surprise Pikachu face. It's exploiting minors. Yep, well, that'll happen.
As a whole, we're going to have to fulfill one or the others of these sides. I think it's hard to make the argument that if you're 18 or older, you don't know what you're getting when you're buying something from OnlyFans. As far as said, like when you go to a strip club, I mean, if you think the girl's name is really Crystal, I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, shout out to Insight of the Ages. What is good, brother? Said these actions are okay only if everyone involved is informed and acting voluntarily. Again, I agree, but the informed part, that is where we get into, that's where it gets money. Because how well informed? Do you have to know exactly how your future is going to work out? Obviously, none of us do. Do you have to have some idea of, okay, well, this could go wrong? Well, not all of them do. And so then the argument for exploitation might be there. But welcome to the party, Insight of the Ages. Good to see ya.
And if you are, and then for the other side, I heard Alex put this argument forth that like faking DMs might be an unethical thing if you're not upfront about it, which could be the case.
I agree
but that's just an argument against one type of sex work. That's not an argument against all of OnlyFans or all of sex work.
Agreed.
So I submit that if we're going to have a debate on the exploitation of sex work, we need to be working within the strict definitions of exploitation. Or if we're going to further expand the definition of exploitation, we need to also understand that we're arguing for the banning of any service that could lead to a detrimental effect in the long term of somebody's health, such as gambling, alcohol, consumption of fast food, overconsumption of video games. I am in favor of banning League of Legends, though. And that's my argument, yeah.
So, okay, so Destiny's let out quite an argument for these two to respond to. And the idea is that it's going to have to be, carving out why specifically OnlyFans is exploitative when all these other things that fill the same role in other people's lives, that's not exploitative. Hey, shout out to Colette. Welcome back. Said in my day, that just stood on seedy street corners or were escorts. We're in escort services. Yeah, we've moved beyond that. For the better, for the worse, I'd say probably for the worse, but time is a ticking indeed. Welcome to the party. So said terms of service from large corporations need to be more clear and concise. Maybe it's an argument that could be made in some way, but you're just not going to get everyone to read every word every time. Absolutely. I mean, when's the last time you actually read through anything? I mean, my excuse at this point is that I've already like just not read and agreed to too many terms of service that it's like I feel like that ship has sailed. I don't know if we're ever getting that putting that that back in the box. I don't know about that. He always does, doesn't he? He always does. I mean, it's a joke until they come for you.
Yeah, I guess probably the most important part then to start is what are we defining as exploitation?
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
As interlocutors.
Sure. My definition of exploitation is what I gave. I would say that it's if you're dealing with a customer that can't give informed consent, or if you are intentionally misrepresenting what it is you're selling to somebody.
Do you think casinos?
Hey, shout out to Joe. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. He says your car can spy on you because you agreed to it. Yep.
Exploitative?
Do I think what?
Casinos, gambling.
Or exploitative?
Yeah.
Under my definition, no.
Okay, what about, let's say, selling drugs? Becoming hardcore drugs like heroin.
I would say it could qualify, but the difference there is that
No.
kind of what he was saying, exploitation takes place if the customer can't give informed consent or like fully conscious consent. And the difference is that the American Psychological Association does not include pornography addiction under the DSM-5 because it's just not an addiction. There's no compulsion, which is like the cardinal feature of what the cardinal hallmark of what an addiction is.
I didn't know that. Technically, porn addiction is not recognized. That's interesting. I do absolutely think that people can have unhealthy habits with porn, just like anything else. But good to know.
There's no withdrawal symptoms. Like if you choose to take your credit card information out of OnlyFans, you're not gonna be having headaches. You're not gonna be like scratching your face, thinking there's like bugs on your face. But people who do have a gambling addiction, there is a lack of compulsion, which is why there's a difference. You are exploiting possibly a customer.
About the DSM stuff, we should probably be cautious because most behavior
I'll just say I would prefer not so erudite. Let's just put it that way.
addictions don't have the like drug-induced withdrawal symptoms that you're alluding to, right? But part of withdrawal symptoms, if you look at like the 6 measures of what makes something addictive, not that we need to get too much into this, but porn addiction is a decently established thing. There's increasing literature establishing that there's internet addiction, and so porn would probably fall into like the OnlyFans thing. They're
Yeah. So what that I think what she's saying, or what Farah was saying, was specifically from the APA. So specifically in the DSM, they're not saying that it can't be addictive, but that a porn addiction is not a real, it's not a real disorder as if drug addiction. It's not the same thing. And so I assume that video gaming would be in the same way. I might be wrong. But I definitely take your point. Hey, we got Rhett and Action in the building. What is good? Welcome to the party. Oh my goodness, Any Film, I'm so sorry. You didn't have to do that, man. You just had to remind me. Oh, out sponsoring yourself because I am an asshole and I forgot to update the banner. Let's see if we can get our boy to take a, I don't know what's up with him. He's not feeling so good. What's the matter? But they are here for him. That's right. Every single super chat comes with a treat for Morty, and I am going to do the banner right now. Guys, next time, if that happens, just remind me. I got a lot of stuff going on. You don't have to pay more. Just to you already win. Thank you so much.
absolutely can be addictive proponents to any sort of behavior, particularly anything that like hits fast and reinforces quickly. And the more immediate and the more reinforcing that it is, this is why like drugs are so addicting in many ways, is because the moment you feel sad, you can take it and it boosts your mood. That's like the psychological addictive element there. So while I agree there's no drug systems going on that are making people addicted to porn, there is behavioral mechanisms absolutely that are going to be hijacked to establish. You would have to establish that basically no behavioral addictions exist if like porn addiction doesn't really exist.
Well, do you think lack of compulsion is involved with porn addiction?
I don't know if compulsion's the, I don't know how much we want to get into addiction. I don't know if I would agree that compulsion is like a fundamental element of what we categorize as addiction anyways.
So when they're talking about compulsion, they mean the part of the addiction that is a physical manifestation of I need to get this thing, where you're going to get sick, or you, like they say, you're going to get itchy, or whatever it is. That's not going to happen with porn. Zibia Strange said, there's addiction to buying shoes. Yep. Joe said, is there ever a point where we should infantilize adults below a certain IQ and deem them unworthy to make a decision on their addiction? Yes, if they are not, if they're not able to realize what they're getting themselves into, then absolutely. Now, that should be a very high bar, but yes, definitely. Colette said, or strip clubs, which they still have, all three with consent on both sides. Yep, that's exactly what Destiny brought up. That was the first thing he said. He's like, in the same way that you don't want the illusion of, if you're in a strip club, you don't want to know Crystal's real name. You don't want her to be honest about the fact that, if she doesn't like the way that you're touching her, you go there for the fantasy. So it's very similar. And then, I mean, it's even further away because there's no angle, there's no possibility of, violence or touching or anything like that. So I said, not sure, Joe. That's a big subject there. I'd say in general, the government is well on its way to attempting it, though, for sure. Forever. Yeah, true. Let's said this excludes sex trafficked people, of course. Yes, that's a whole different thing. We're specifically talking about OnlyFans. We're specifically talking about people who are voluntarily putting themselves on there. Obviously, if somebody's forcing, then that's definitely exploitation, unquestionably. Just say, yeah, it feels shitty to take agency away from adults. But some people are just killing themselves. Now, that's not the part that I mean, as sad as that is, that's not the part that I think is wrong. If you have an understanding that you are killing yourself, there's no government that should be able to tell you that you can't do that. The thing is, though, when people can't make those decisions. So that was what the original question was about, low IQ and, developmentally disabled or whatever else. But definitely team freedom, and especially for adults. Inside Aegis says the TOS mentioned that these women don't love you, just your money. The whole thing is pretty wild. One lonely woman simping for 1,000 lonely men. No one happy. Well, I mean, she's happy with the money, at least. At least she's got the money.
Because to be fair, there's no consensus among the literature of whether addiction is impulsive or compulsive. It's probably somewhere in between. We know that it seems to interact a little bit with OCD and like the brain structures associated with that, but it's not one-to-one. So there is compulsive elements, but there's also highly impulsive elements as well.
So again, impulsive just being like, you don't think about it. It's just something that you do, versus compulsive where there's something that happens to you that makes you be like, okay, now I need to do the thing.
Let me give one analogy for Farah. So let's say that you are a drug dealer, you sell heroin. You come up to me, I'm totally sober, an adult, can make up my own mind, and you say, hey, Alex, I'm gonna give you this heroin really, really cheap. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Is that an exploitative behavior on your part?
I would say no.
No.
Okay.
But I think the reason why the sale of drugs is considered exploitation is because doing certain types of drugs is considered a transformative experience. The type of person you are who's consumed heroin a bunch is transformatively and fundamentally different.
No, I'm talking about I've never done heroin before.
Yeah, if you've never done heroin before, then somebody making you an offer to sell you heroin, assuming that you're an adult, you're mentally sound, you're not Yasuo man or somebody with Down syndrome or something, then obviously, you have the ability to choose whether or not you want to buy or not buy heroin. There's no compulsion there. To call it exploitative is strange. I don't understand.
Well, you can make that argument for kids working at China sweatshop. They have the option whether they want to go there or not, right?
Do that?
Do they? I mean, I gotta be honest. I'm not an expert on child slavery in China, but I don't think they do.
Okay.
Yeah, in some cases, sure.
I don't think so. I think that's why sweatshops aren't considered unethical, because the kid decides I could go to, happy-go-lucky middle school today, or I could go and work in the horrible conditions of the sweatshop. I think that sweatshops are considered unethical because oftentimes they're seen as, one, the people are too young to even have the option to make another choice.
Again, so that brings us to number one, informed consent. If you don't know what you're getting into, then you can't give actual consent.
And two, because they have no other recourse.
Like
they have
a goddamn
other
Exactly. So that's the whole point. So they go to the sweatshop. because that's their best alternative. The other option is like staying at home, trying to start your own business. It's the same thing with
Start your own business in China?
it's hypothetically possible.
For a child? You think a 9-year-old could start a company in China? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Colette said she's happy with the money. Customer is happy with the fantasy. That's what they want you to think. She is not happy with the money, and he is not happy with the fantasy, which is why he needs to come back to get more of the fantasy, just like the drugs. If only, maybe 10%, if that 10% of the women are actually making decent money. And what are they giving away? What are they giving away? One person said, but people got to have their Nike shoes, got to keep those sweatshops. America, Jack, that's America. Insight says, yeah, it definitely goes both ways. But I really mean to say, in the end, no one is happy. Also, pro tip, retention is a superpower. Heal quicker, muscle gains quicker, lady attracting pheromones. There you go. That is what you should be focused on, not racing $5.99 for a pay-per-view on OnlyFans.
Like what, you don't think there's any Chinese businessman?
Not any Chinese business children.
Well, hold on, wait. I think that when we talk about children who are in sweatshops in China, I don't think we're thinking of the average person who's capable of launching their own entrepreneurship at like age 10 or something. It's possible in the same way.
It's hypothetically possible. Let's say he's 13. He can be a streamer like you.
And you know what? If that's your argument, you want to hang your hat on, then I'll.
That is the right move. That is the right move. And you could see the wheels turning for Destiny. Like, are we really going to go down this way? Is he even being serious, or is he just kind of throwing this out there to see if he's going to throw me off? But he's like, you know what? All right, fine. Okay, yes. Hypothetically, there could be a 9-year-old in China that starts, the new Twitter or whatever. But probably not, though, right?
That's the whole point, though, right? It is in that sense, like, so you could just then have to say that sweatshops are not exploitative because they have a choice. It's the same thing with the guys who subscribe to Farah's OnlyFans or any girl's OnlyFans. It's because they don't have a better alternative. They're doing it because they're lonely. They don't know how to talk to girls in real life. Sure. And that's their, so yes, they do have.
Yeah, so Soul has a great point here that, it's definitely a minority of women making a majority of the money. And the same mathematical relationship throughout society. So then you would have to say that society is exploiting everyone, which I think that argument can be made. But if you're trying to say it's the same type of exploitation, then you're going to have to draw those lines for me, because I can agree that OF can be exploitative while I don't want it banned. And then I also agree that society, or certainly the government, can be exploitative of people. But I don't know if we're talking about the same things there. Hey, we got Liberty Plus TV in the building. Welcome to the party. Said OF ended feminism. I don't know about that, brother. I don't know about that. I think it's feminism on steroids. Feminism on steroids is what you get with OnlyFans.
They could sit home and jerk off.
Sure.
Right? But
I just want to define something really quick, okay? Because this part of the argument highlights something very important. It's the difference between consent and informed consent.
That's what I was talking about before. But exactly, indie film. Feminism ended feminism. Feminism ended feminism. Wonderful said cognitive dissonance got feminists making OF accounts. That's what I'm saying. It's the ultimate, it's not seen as the ultimate giving in to men, even though it's like, oh, men only want one thing, so I'm going to give it to them for just a cheap price. What? I think that makes sense. Zippy said, dude has more muscle than brains. Sweatshop equals slavery. Slaves to not have choices. Well, at least not choices in society. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the soul is agreeing, but she's saying fourth wave feminism, not true feminism. And to that, I say the no true Scotsman fallacy. Feminism is how feminism acts.
Oftentimes, the understanding of informed consent gets trivialized.
I don't really have an issue with unless you, like they said, unless you're getting addicted to the behavior and it becomes a huge part of your routine, then, I mean, whatever. I really, like, if you don't want to watch it, go ahead and don't watch it. If you want to watch it, go ahead and watch it. But it's free. It's free. It's free. Paying for a free product is pathetic, regardless of what it is. Regardless of what it is. Insights that most women realize in their mid-30s that they were gaslit about men and family. Bingo. Yep. One to fill. I hate men, so I'm going to make my whole income dependent entirely on men.
What? Of course.
Into this understanding of consent, which is, well, could you make a different choice, right? Like, technically, any abused prostitute could just not work for the pimp anymore. Any abused spouse could just leave their husband. Any abused child could petition the court to become an orphan or a ward of the state. But the informed consent means, does the person, like, are they reasonably expected to have a meaningful ability to engage with the particular system of exploitation that they're a part of? I think that children in sweatshops are not meaningfully expected to be able to just go home and become full-time streamers. They don't have a realistic option out. That's a 1 to a million shot. The same that a person that gets addicted to heroin, I could get a lucky break and become like an actor in Hollywood, and I just end up like Chris Farley or something. But I don't think that's like the average.
You're making the argument that it's less exploitative. It's less addictive, which is true, but it's still exploitative.
Our restaurant.
Okay, so now we're talking about as instead of yes or no, we've agreed that it's exploitative. Exploitative or exploitative? That's gonna bother me all night. That's gonna bother me all night. But now we're talking about degrees. So okay, maybe exploitation is there, but is exploitation necessarily a bad thing in low degrees? That seems to be the area that at least Alex is going. I don't know about Erudite hasn't said too much on that one. So the Soul said true feminism has been dead for decades in the U.S. I don't understand why they don't focus on helping women in countries that are actually oppressed. I was just talking with Stephanie about this earlier. I've been singing this song since I became an atheist. I've been singing this song since I became an atheist because even then it's like, feminists, you won. You're equal, at least under the law, and that's all you're going to get. But we have women in other countries that are getting stoned to death for nothing. For nothing. Shout out to Christian Packard. Welcome to the party. Exploitative. All right, I'm going to try and remember that. Welcome. Soul said, fallacy or not, I don't think feminism deserves to call itself feminism. Well, I think we can agree on that.
Restaurant's exploitative?
No. Why would a restaurant be
Because it serves you
Chick-fil-A, we gotta admit,
physiological
Chick-fil-A is very exploitative.
Well, they add like
Burgers are
MSG to their
awful.
stuff. There's a ton of sodium. It's not healthy for you. It causes long-term cardiovascular
There's
disease.
only
and
one
everyone-
reason they close on Sunday, and that's
Right,
because
but
they want to
with
pay
the
us
with
10
the difference is with the restaurant, you kind of know what you're getting, right?
And you're done with OnlyFans?
With OnlyFans, do you think there's like disclaimers that say, hey, you're probably going to be addicted to and spend thousands of dollars on this girl, you're probably going to be simping hardcore, you're probably never going to get into a real life relationship because you spend all your money and all your time on OnlyFans.
That's just not true. 89% of OnlyFans subscribers are married men, so this idea that it's just lonely virgins who are subbing to OnlyFans is just...
Where's that?
No.
Well, hold on. Just because somebody's married does not mean that they are not lonely. Secondly, just because somebody's married doesn't mean that they are not interested in meeting up with another person. Thirdly, I don't even like the marriage thing doesn't have anything to do with his point at all.
So it's actually, I brought the study here in my bag if we want it. That is actually correct from the one study in 2021. Obviously it hasn't been replicated, but there actually is a really unexpected finding in most SEM research, which finds that most of the people who consume it are married men, which is a very odd finding. The argument I would make is, why would we say that married men aren't lonely when their divorce rate is at like 50%? One of the biggest indicators of men killing themselves is usually post-divorce or post being fired. So I agree that they are married men. I just don't know if that substantiates to me enough whether or not they're this like essentially this vulnerable.
Right. So you're citing post-divorce. Obviously, if we're talking about married men, we're talking about pre-divorce. And then also secondly...
Imagine if they're getting divorced or if they're on OnlyFans,
Right.
There could be, and this is an area where I'll fully admit, there's just a data gap. I don't know if the married men that are on OnlyFans are like, me and my wife love OnlyFans and it's a bonding couple moment, or whether they're like, God.
That's a good point. I've been in relationships where she's like, "Yo, let's put on this, that," and like, all right, hey, whatever you're into. Because she says Farah is such a dumbass. That girl literally has no soul. It scares me. I'm not too familiar with her. I've seen her on Destiny's channel before, and she seems kind of just like basic. And I feel like the only reason that she's an authority here is because she's on OnlyFans, not because she has anything intellectual to add. But yeah. So the soul said she's making the same argument for the abortion. Most women who get them already have children. Okay, and yeah, I'm not sure how that changes the exploitation. Because if we're questioning, because again, the original question from this line of is you know what you're getting when you go into a restaurant. and they say, well, you don't know what you're getting into when you go on OnlyFans. And I mean, that's, I mean, you understand essentially what it is, but you know, just like doing drugs, you essentially know what you're doing the first time you do drugs, but you have no way of being, you know, at that level of informed consent of what it's like to be a heroin addict until it's already too late. So know what you're getting. We have to define that now, because we you know, we're using these terms. What does knowing what you get actually mean? Well, it's in the 70s when feminism started. I said, they're going to ruin everything for women and men. Shout out to Colette. She said, I hate being right. I hate that you are right too, but indeed, you are right. Inside said, I'm really impressed with how good faith this conversation seems so far. Yeah, I mean, you know, they all know each other. They've all talked before, so I would imagine that there is a level of respect as just colleagues and peers and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm digging it.
My wife won't touch me anymore because I got fat and my dick's small, so I have to go on OnlyFans to get. I don't know which group is the 89%. Yeah. I'm going to guess it's heterogeneous. There's probably some married men that are very liberal, that are very open about their sexuality with their wife, and it is like an enhancing thing. One of the most important findings in most SEM research is the effect of porn on the individual has everything to do with their beliefs and attitudes about porn itself.
Here's the thing, though, Liberty. Liberty's saying left-wingers think everything is exploitation, but the lefties are the one that's saying it's not exploitation. Well, I don't really know where Erudite stands, but certainly Alex is, you know, he's a red pill manosphere guy, so he's definitely not a lefty. So you're generally right, but that's not what's happening here. Rhett says my step aunt used to have an OnlyFans. Oh my God! Oh good Lord! And he said I didn't use it. Obviously, very good. I learned about when she said out loud at a Halloween party. Let's just say I may have puked really bad. I am sorry, my friend. I am sorry for that. I am sorry for that. Luckily, my aunts are all hopefully old enough where I don't have to come across that. But yeah, this is another real thing that when you say, okay, I know what I'm getting into. Well, do you know how that? Did your step aunt know how you were going to feel? So she obviously couldn't have known exactly and entirely what was going into it. And there's a million other aspects about exactly this, where it's like you knew what it was, but you didn't really know what it was. You know? Sorry about that, Rhett. Sorry, buddy. Larry Plus TV says if they are lying about who you are talking to, it is definitely fraud. Yeah, that's unquestionable. That's unquestionable. But you know, I think we really want to focus it on if this is, you know, a legitimate interaction between a woman who's voluntarily putting her body out there or her time or whatever else, and a guy who understands what OnlyFans is and is deciding to spend that money. That's really, is that exploitation? Obviously, can people be exploited in this area? There's no argument there. There's no argument there. But the like the run-of-the-mill interaction, that's what we really want to we said maybe being on a web is why they are getting divorced. Good point. Good point. Christian said exploitation. 1, the action or fact of treating someone unfairly in order to benefit from their work. The action of making use of and benefiting from resources. Yep.
Right? If you're a couple who thinks that porn enhances the sexual dynamic, you think that it's like exciting and role play, we just broadly see that it's good for everyone. But if it's somewhat like rammed down the throat, we see women, for example, tend to only watch porn when their partners ask for it. And we see a big escalation in insecurity in those women and a decrease in like sexual satisfaction in those couples. Again, that's part of because of the belief system that's operating when they engage in porn. So
right, so that's a whole like detour as to whether or not the fact that 89% of the people using OnlyFans are married or not is even relevant at all. That may just be a fun fact. Hey, shout out to Trey Williams in the building. Welcome to the party, brother. I think most guys are addicted to the ones that give the girlfriend experience, not necessarily the women who are just showing their bodies. Bingo. I think you are absolutely right. And so if you're not familiar, this is when you can pay for them to pretend to, you know, be your girlfriend. And, you know, they'll talk more about it, but, you know, use your imagination. It's exactly what you think. The girlfriend experience. Shout out to Jess. Talk about it. Welcome to the party. I love how you go immediately. Okay, no. I went there immediately. So we got to. I almost projected onto you. Almost projected onto you that I thought I misread something else with customer or something, and I thought you were saying that the creators knew what they were getting into. Not even talking about the men. But that's where my mind went. So I almost projected on you. I didn't project it, so no projection drink. But absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Welcome to the party. We also got Guamtech in the building. Welcome. How you doing? Can't stick around, but throwing the like. Very, very, very much appreciated, brother. We got Misanthropic Altruist in the building. Welcome. Said Colette, the data does not support this, unfortunately. I missed that one. Okay, so Colette said, many married men play around and like having a housekeeper and babysitter at home equals wife. I don't really know. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Many married men play around and like having a housekeeper and a babysitter at home that is their wife? Meaning men cheat? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure. Christian said the only thing I will say is that OF is exploitative in that they make money off people's mental disorders. Anyone selling their body is doing it for validation and a lack of self-worth. They need to outsource their validation from creeps on the internet, which is kind of sad and sick in the deepest sense. Well said. And this is where we get into the know what you're getting into. Yes, you know that it's about putting your body out there and paying money to see pictures and videos and this. But do you understand the deeper implications of what that's going to do to your life? That's the real question at hand. And that's really what's going to determine whether or not it's exploitation.
Just to be clear, the 89% isn't evidence to me whether or not they're a vulnerable population. It's just a really interesting finding.
I want to go back to what Farah was saying in her opening statement. You were saying that it's positive for men and women. I can understand how you make the argument for women because they're making money. How in the world is it positive for men?
Okay, so Littman and Leister did a study in 2023 in the Journal of Sexuality and Culture, and they found that of the population of men who engage with OnlyFans workers, they actually experience an improvement in sexual confidence, higher self-esteem, higher body positivity. I mean, you can make a face.
I do not buy that for a second.
I was going to say, me neither. Shout out to Rabbi Glickman in the building. Welcome to the party. And yes, sir, that is its main priority. And too many dudes are falling for it. Just like groceries are so expensive, it makes me want to start an OF. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I, obviously if I knew what I know now, but if I had been a girl all my life, I don't know if I would have an issue with this. Based on the feminization of the matriarchy and all that, I kind of feel like I'd be like, whatever. I'm just saying. I don't know how it's that easy with such a strong feminist idea that this is liberation and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. So he says, play around as in actively cheat or talk good game? Good question. I've seen them. It feels like half of all married men play around and talk game, but do not cheat. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. It's I would, we'd have to do a deep dive on a lot of different studies and over time, and we know some people cheat sometimes. And I don't really know how that's super relevant. Not true. What's cope? Said lies. They got the blue pill for their confidence. Yeah, I don't know about that. Christian said, just it's about selling your body for $5 is so sad. Make an honest living, and your soul will be filled with real joy, not just your pockets with dirty money. Yep. Insight said, same. If I was a hot chick, I'd probably play that game and travel the world. Like, I mean, we know the answer, so why not? But you'd have a really hard time as a 20-year-old girl answering, why not? Why not?
Simping for some random girl on OnlyFans is going to make you give you confidence and give you more body positivity?
I mean, you were the one talking
Probably.
about guys facing incessant rejection. So yeah, maybe talking to a model, even if it's a guy in India cosplaying as a model, telling you, yeah, your dick looks so great, it's going to raise your confidence.
Right, and then you start doing that instead of going out and actually self-improving, meeting real girls in real life, which is what's actually going to make you happy.
This is kind of to the
By that
point,
logic,
though.
that women should withhold sex from broke men until they've reached their financial pinnacle.
Well, some girls do that.
Some do, but you're basically saying it's just as unethical for me to have sex with broke men because I'm offering them a sexual checkpoint that's not congruent with their financial peak, and I should just reserve sex for millionaires. No, it does, because you're saying that they're not working on themselves. So by that logic, women should just reserve themselves as sexual trophies for men who've like crossed the finish line.
Right, but because the difference here is that you are a partner in that relationship. So ideally, if the guy doesn't completely suck in bed, you're getting a benefit. You're getting to have good sex, right? Hopefully, ideally, right? Versus in this situation, it's a one-way street. The girl's taking all the money, and the guy's just spending all his mental, financial, and emotional energy on this quasi BS relationship.
But dude, you would argue as a red pill guy that she's giving away all of her purity and all of this and that. So she absolutely is giving something away. And even if she's not, and obviously she's getting money, and he's getting whatever experience that he's after. And so you can say that it's exploitative without misrepresenting what is actually happening. I want to post that something doesn't have to be positive for you to exactly. Spot on. Mind melting. Rabbi said, this is what a matriarchy produces. Yep. Trey said, I would argue that most men are okay with being exploited because they are usually the ones that are heavily in the red pill and still go follow these women, proving they know what's happening. That's a good point. If it's specifically the guys who are like, the women who go on Fresh and Fit know that they are going to make money. They know that they're going to make money because it's the same dudes who want to sit around and bash women all day who are then giving them money and simping for them. It's sad, but it's absolutely true. So that pushes the degree of knowing what you're getting into. Well, if a lot of these dudes spend a lot of their time specifically looking at conversations with OF girls, it's kind of hard to say that they don't know what they're getting into. Clint said, more convenient to not get divorced. That's also true. If you're just in an unhappy marriage, a lot of people will just stay because it's easier. Definitely a matriarchy. Definitely. MA said, speculation on who cheats more is folly. We have decades of study on cheating and failed marriages. Yeah, no, I said mind melting, not melted mind. You'll get your chance. And you'll say, in my experience, more women cheat. It's easier for women. Even one not very attractive can find a willing dude. Bingo. Yeah. I think that's what I wasn't sure what you guys were talking about whether men cheat sometimes or not. Obviously men cheat sometimes, but I do think that it is women just have more sex in general than men, so it makes sense that women cheat more. I don't know though. She said the saddest part is that they aren't real conversations. It's some dude in a room chatting for the OnlyFans girl. Yep.
Which is ultimately going to lead him to be lonely, depressed, and it's going to make him have a harder time meeting girls in real life. Like if you could take that 5 hours a day you spend jerking off to who's ever OnlyFans and go out and do shit and actually meet girls in real life. But the problem is, because there's that easy escape, the guy's not doing that. So again, if you want to say...
Wait. I think we have to be really clear here, okay? When we argue about whether or not OnlyFans is exploitation, you're going to like the most extremely addicted people, and then you're trying to present that as being the norm. This would be like me saying, like, do we really think that like selling alcohol is good when if you drink, you're going to be drinking, 24 hours a day, you're going to be an alcoholic, you're going to abuse your family, right. You're going to have cirrhosis of the liver when you're 35 years old. Like the obvious response, like, okay, well, not everybody that drinks does that. You can't point to the most abused or most addicted, most extreme part, because in that case, again, going back to my initial argument.
I mean, he's right. I really thought that I would be torn, but it doesn't seem like Sweatshop and Erudite have good arguments at all.
We have to ban fast food. We're the most obese nation on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to ban
No, but there's a difference between something being legal and someone being exploitive. We're not arguing that you should ban OnlyFans. Okay. We're just saying it's exploitative.
Okay, all right, keeping it on track. Not talking about banning it. Just saying, is it exploiting the people who use it?
So the whole making it legal thing just falls out the window.
But then is every single thing then that's like taking advantage of a want or desire or lack of something, are all of those things exploitative?
Something that's detrimental to that person. If it's detrimental,
Let the hot one talk.
okay. My bad.
I want to give NotSoErudite.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to take a bit of a different approach because I don't know if I agree with that. I think part of the issue that we're having is I don't know if I agree with your definition of exploitation. I don't know if exploitation is fundamentally about informed consent. I think exploitation is, because that's making exploitation about the consumer and the individual. Whereas to me, exploitation, I mean, I think I looked up on like Cambridge or something. It just
because we haven't even talked about the models being exploited as well, with promises that they're going to be rich and then they put everything out there, and then they make $20 a month. Like, yeah, Rabbi said clearly an over-sexualized society isn't a good thing. Clearly.
one of the most common definitions is the act of using somebody unfairly for your own advantage, right? And so the question is there structures within OnlyFans that do allow individuals to take advantage of specifically the highest risk? I don't want OnlyFans to be banned. I don't want fast food to be banned. I don't want alcohol sales to be banned. However, I do want disclaimers on alcohol. I do want to make sure that there are like off-ramps and resources for people who are massively abusing alcohol to be protected. Because the reality is, if you're a dumbass who pays an OnlyFans girls for a girlfriend experience and you're like, I'm pretty sure Sally Lou is going to want to fuck me someday, you are a dumbass. But the issue is, as a liberal society, we care about dumbass. We want.
Ooh, as a liberal society, not like liberal lefty, classical liberal, as a classical liberal society, we care about dumbasses. We want to understand that, oh, just because you're a dumbass doesn't mean you deserve horrible things. That is absolutely, absolutely true. Great point. Great point.
Who pays an OnlyFans girls for a girlfriend experience and you're like, I'm pretty sure Sally Lou is going to want to fuck me someday. You are a dumbass. But the issue is, as a liberal society, we care about dumbasses. We want to create protections and off-ramps for these individuals. And my concern with OnlyFans right now is, while I basically would fully agree with you about women. It's the best possible sex work situation for women. They get all control. They get to set the terms. Yep. Money is out of the pimp's hands. The issue is that some women on the space are being really ethical. They add disclaimers. They make sure that the men know who are buying their services of being like, this is not real. But that is not all women. There are many women on OnlyFans who go on Tinder and Bumble to promote their services. A dating website. There are many girls who on OnlyFans go on TikTok and give voice affirmations every single day, being like, oh, baby, your cock is so beautiful and I love you so much, right? And guys are just like, yes, in the morning, dating off of this and then paying for their PPVs. And so there is a system within OnlyFans that is creating the most high-risk population of men to get sucked in. And all I want is a critique on that, to be honest about that and go, how do we offset that? Can we set up disclaimers?
Yeah,
I think that's really fair as well. So we can say that there is an element of exploitation that can be enacted. There's an element of exploitation that can be enacted. So is the platform itself exploitative? Maybe not. They have all the whatever, and in terms of service, you know what you're getting into, and especially if the creator is going to be very ethical and make sure that they're very clear about what's going on, then we can say that the platform itself is not exploitative. That doesn't mean that exploitation cannot happen via OnlyFans. Good point. I missed that. What purity? Well, they had it before they put it all out there. It's the idiots that need a disclaimer. Exactly.
Okay, I think you can have a critique of this, but I think that if we're going to have this, it needs to apply to everything else. That means that on every single Gatorade commercial where I see some athlete, run a fucking mile in 3 minutes, I need a disclaimer saying drinking Gatorade will not make you a professional athlete. When I walk into a casino, I need a giant dude holding a sign saying, you're probably not going to win $1 million. When I walk into literally any possible thing, I need to have warnings or safeguards that are saying by the way, you might not benefit from this in the most insane way possible. What is that?
Yeah. So that goes to back to the know what you're getting into. Well, you don't know what you're getting into if nobody tells you that McDonald's is not super healthy. The information is there. You can get the nutritional information. You can find it online. They have the printouts. But if nobody ever tells you and you go there every day and eat nothing else, we've all seen Super Size Me. Didn't work out so well. And so if they're you know, like if we're saying that we need a disclaimer for every single thing that could possibly be wrong, where's the personal accountability to understand things that you're going into? But that goes back to Erudite's argument that said, yes, we agree that that's very stupid, but we need to take care of stupid people. And so I think, where's that line? Saying that, you know, there needs to be a disclaimer at Walmart, there needs to be a disclaimer at McDonald's, there needs to be a disclaimer at the post office or whatever else. Christian Packard said, why does he have to drag the entirety of everything into existence whenever someone makes a point about a certain niche conversation point? Because it's about general principles. It's about principles. If we're getting bogged down in the details of one particular thing, then you can apply it to literally anything else to arrive at the same point. Guys, remember, red flag when people don't understand the value and are not unable to engage with hypotheticals or analogies. Just saying. You guys are still going on that. Liberty Plus TV said, I stopped watching porn regularly about 4 years ago. Now I have a girl, a condo, and we're starting a family. Word up, word up. Good for you. Good for you. Unwanted Foe said, well, the messenger of Supersize Me didn't really help the case, but that's a separate issue. I was hoping we were just going to ignore that, but thank you, Unwanted Foe. I wouldn't say I was exploited. Yeah, exactly. But you also didn't pay for it.
Any other industry that we have?
There's a million industries where they have safeguards. Also, just real quick, the whole making it illegal or banning thing is a complete red herring because everyone here agrees that OnlyFans should not be made illegal.
Sure,
So there's no point talking about. No, you were talking about
earlier. I'm saying is that is there any other type of thing that has this
alcohol,
disclaimer?
tobacco sales, all of these things.
Pharmacy, pharmaceuticals.
Some of disclaimers. Most businesses
products.
as well, you can sue if Gatorade, like.
They have disclaimers on what physically can happen because you're ingesting somebody in something in all of those cases. I don't think that's a fair analogy, because you're not ingesting anything when you I mean, looking at something, watching something is not the same thing as putting a chemical into your body. So he said, I mean, government can buy ad time and run disclaimers on things, do info campaigns to tell you guns are inanimate objects that cannot harm you without an evil human or government agent get involved. Yeah, they don't really do that either, do they? Christian said, I get the analogy, but we're talking about OnlyFans, not Walmart. This isn't about buying groceries. This is about a moral decision regarding someone's sexuality and promiscuity. We all understand that. Nobody is thinking that we are here to talk about Walmart. So if you hear Walmart and think that other people are talking about Walmart, they're talking about Gatorade on the screen. Nobody's asking about the core question of whether or not Gatorade is exploitative. The reason to bring other things is to compare the situations. So if you're saying this happens, and this happens, then okay, if that makes it exploitation, then let's take these three things and put them in a different context so that we can see, does your principle stand true, or are you just making a special pleading argument for this situation? Misanthropic Altruist says, my friend once forced me to watch a cooking channel on OnlyFans as a lurk. It was absurd. Have no further interest in that site. Sure, that's what they all say. I was just using it for the cooking, I swear. Hey, we got Bill Bradley in the building. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. So there are a lot of lonely men in society, and that loneliness is certainly being exploited. I would say the site is exploiting women's desires to make money in a system where wages don't keep up with cost of living, and the site is exploiting lonely men. But I'm not sure I would say the women themselves are exploiting the men per se. So now we're adding another layer where we have the men, we have the women who are both users of the platform and the platform itself, and we had just kind of gotten to a place where we were saying that the platform itself is not exploitative, but exploitation can happen via the app. So there is, because we laid out before how we have the creators who will be very honest and ethical about, what is going on. And, a lot of this conversation where they're about to bring it is about blurring the line between reality and, oh, I'm really going to get to meet this girl, and it being an agreed upon fantasy. So that's interesting. A lot of different perspectives here.
is too aggressive in their advertising and lies too much. There are actually
There's disclaimers and everything, detergent, like literally everything.
The disclaimers that you're asking for are not like this. The disclaimers on cigarettes and alcohol
About health warnings,
have to
not
do,
like
yeah, they have to do
you're not
direct
gonna
effects
reach
to your
a
health.
peak, yeah.
But what I need now,
That's what I said.
you're telling me, okay, I grew up playing Metal Gear Solid and Cowboy Bebop. I didn't remember any disclaimers on cigarettes saying you're not going to be really fucking cool if you start smoking. Like nobody ever made that disclaimer.
What
for
I
me.
want,
And that's kind of the point that I was getting to, is that there's no disclaimer one way or the other about what is going to happen to your life. It's just the direct impact that that's going to have on the physiology of your body. And so those are two different disclaimers. So there could be a disclaimer that going on this site could be harmful to your health if you don't use it in a respectful manner. With that, I wonder if that would be enough to change Destiny's mind. Like, okay, so we put a disclaimer. You have to hit okay. It's not in the whole terms of service. It's one little box that fills up the whole screen that says you can get addicted to this. Make sure you use this responsibly. Would that be enough to wash away the exploitation? So the soul agrees with Bill. He's saying, I mean, society is creating an increasing number of desperate people, and sites like OnlyFans take advantage of everyone's desperation for their profits. And I don't disagree with you, Bill. The point here is that OnlyFans' fault for filling what is clearly a desire. It's simple supply and demand. So if there's people who want this stuff, and there's people who want to do this stuff, then how much of a role does OnlyFans even really have? I don't know. I don't have the answer. That's just another question to I forgot what I was going to say. Kristen said, yeah, I agree with Erudite. Not comparable. All right. I mean, I think, I think if you're maybe not this particular analogy, I think that there are points being made. But you went to a general that Destiny always does this. Well, Destiny always does this because comparisons, analogies, and hypotheticals are useful. Zibby said, I mean, all platforms are exploitative. Are they really paying you for your effort? Do you really need a disclaimer to tell you that strippers and OF is not real? You cannot take them home. But again, just because you're dumb, in a classical liberal society, we want to care for dumb people. So being dumb doesn't erase the fact that they were exploited. If you're exploited, being dumb doesn't make it exploitation. MA said, male suffering is profitable. Welcome to the black pill. Yeah. So like I said, Bidenomics keeps on for much longer. Feet pics. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And literally just agreeing with Bill. All right.
That's why a lot of people start smoking.
Let's start with something like this. Sure. I want girls that are actively, knowingly trying to blur the line between expectation and fantasy to have some sort of TOS regulations. So there are some women who do the girlfriend experience who are explicit that it's a role play, that it's explicit that it's a fantasy, and there are disclaimers, and they define the relationship really clearly.
So that's what I was talking about just now. And I said, if there was one, not within the TOS, but specifically, let's say you sign up for a girl that is doing girlfriend experience stuff. And I don't really know. I guess that she just texts you or send whatever. But in order to do that, then you have to click a big, okay, this is not real. Or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Zibby said, in classical liberal society, you go to jail for cigarettes and or pot. Come on. We obviously that's true, but that's not the principles of the classical liberal principles don't align with that. Insight says it might be important for women to know that if they have not been on hormone blockers since starting puberty, they may feel different about most things, especially in the way of impulses, desires, and visions for their lives. Young women don't understand or think about this nearly enough. No, it is shutting down the natural process of our human bodies that we all are owned. Yep. There's a lot that's just been going on for a long time that's changing societal behavior. Like it's not only changing the physiology, Jesus Christ. I keep wanting to say philosophical, and now I can't say physiological. physiological changes in the individual, but also the attitudes that come from that aid in that skewing is bad. It's bad. Trace said, I think a lot of people forget that OnlyFans did not set out to become a porn site. It was basically another version of Patreon, and a porn star basically started using it to sell her own sex tapes, which is a fair point, because if all of a sudden somebody, Patreon became that, I don't think anybody here would say, oh, Patreon is exploitative. But at the same time, we would definitely have an issue with, the fact that it's happening. And so I think the point of this conversation, the point of this stream, for me at least, is to figure out, where exactly do I land on this issue? And we got 20 votes on the poll, and it is split 50-50. So if you have not voted, please let us know. Just as it's clear, the men rather be exploited. It's clear the men rather be exploited and share fantasy female than have an independent woman. Who's complaining? That's what they want. If you think that any man would prefer a fake girlfriend as opposed to a real girlfriend, then you are bizarrely misunderstanding what's going on here. That is not at all what's happening. Like, first of all, 89% of these men are married, as stated in their claim. So it's not about rather be exploited than share a fantasy. It's more often a lack of choice. If you're married, or if you can't get a real girl, then if you're in an unhappy marriage and you can't get another girl, it's not say, well, let me go exploit myself. That's not what's happening. I mean, essentially it is. But that's not the thought, which is exactly the two are saying it's exploitation. That's exactly their argument. They're saying we live in a bizarre world where the progressives are more regressive than the conservatives. Conservatives may want to go back 1,000 years, but hedonism and Gaia worship is going back 2,000 years. Yep. And they said the OF bubble, the OF will hit a bubble and pop. As the economy tanks, there'll be a giant spike for OF earnings and popularity. Then it will plummet, and many women will turn into actual IRL prostitution. That is scary. That is scary. And not good. Not good. Insight said, oh, it takes like 30%. Let's start one that takes only 10%. Let's exploit it. There you go. I like the way you think. Let's go. We only exploit you 1/3 as much as OnlyFans. That's our tagline. Christian said, I wouldn't trust the stats on how they found out how many people watching OnlyFans are married. I don't even understand how you would get stats like that. Very biased sample to get those numbers. Brother. You think they don't know exactly who everybody is on every single app? They have full entire Facebook profiles for people who have never logged on to the site. They have so much information. Whether, Apple's a little bit better with not selling your data, but certainly on Google and Android, and you guys are all on YouTube right now, they have your information. They know. Ms. Anthropic also suggests you are partially right. Men don't regard independent as a qualifier for mate selection. There you go. Inside of the Ages says, I don't know. Sometimes it might make sense to have these fake relationships with no strings attached versus trying to maintain a complex relationships in these wild times. I can honestly see the draw if lucid. Yeah, exactly. Like, how could they? It's 2023. How could they know who I am? Now, I'm not giving credence to that specific study. I get where, that it's hard to get those, depending on, how the study is done. But talking about how they get information. Come on.
And there are tons and tons of OnlyFans manuals. I didn't have to look very far on OnlyFans advice on the Reddit page to find girls advising other girls about how to convince men that there might be a chance that they could fuck them so that they spend more money on them. This is real. There's an entire Pornhub section of OnlyFans girls meets up with fans and fucks them.
Except
That's
it's never
an entire thing. And I agree it's a fantasy.
Of course it's not a fan.
The issue is that some of these individuals lean hard into the fantasy, and who's going to fall for that? The reality is the higher, more vulnerable, probably most dispossessed individuals.
Sure,
and that's what I want to protect.
I just think we don't have that expectation for other things, like he's saying, like when I go with my male friends to a restaurant, they always think the waitress is like flirting with them because they want a tip. Like, should the waitress have to disclaim, like, by the way, I'm just doing this for money?
No,
You
because
have zero chance
it's
with me?
socially understood that when you eat at a restaurant, you're going to give someone a tip.
Okay, so is it not socially understood that when you go onto OnlyFans that you're going to give them a tip and they're going to flirt with you? It is the exact same thing, but just a level up. So then we're now back to talking about strip clubs. Should strip clubs have to shatter the illusion in order to make sure that the dumbest people who can't see the line don't end up, addicted to strip clubs? And I would say no. Zippy said, "Gonna agree. It's easy to get info. It's easy to get info on people by online accounts. Plus, looking at the level of damage to society, I can easily believe it." So it was from Psychology Today. It's not a real stat. So I mean, again, like I said, I don't know how much I necessarily trust it, but certainly if they are reporting 89%, it's not 10%. It's not 10%. Clearly, it's somewhere. At least we could say 70 to 90%. If not at least 50%. You know what I mean? So it may not be a real stat, but that doesn't mean that there's no information in there.
That's
But again, that's why when people talk about where source, if you don't have a source to the alternative, then don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, everything psychology is sketch. I went to school for psychology and graduated with a degree in psychology, and it is all horseshit. It is all horseshit. Not that the concepts are all horse shit, but it's a soft science, and it's very, very, very politicized. It was in 2010 when I was there. Think about 10 years later. Just said, I'm selling girlfriend experiences. Nah, you ain't selling that shit here. So disclaimer, I will use the money to pay my bills and buy groceries. I don't mind eating Cheesecake Factory. Blurring the lines. The girlfriend experience, are you going out? Are you escort? Or are you a girlfriend? See, this is exactly what Erudite's saying. Blurring the lines, Jess. How dare you?
How dare you?
Instead, I overpaid once for a salted facial scrub from an Armenian dude selling them in the mall. I paid 10 times what they were on Amazon. Exploited. Took over an hour to get my money back. Fair enough.
That's a common thing that's been around forever.
Wait. Do
you think most of the dudes
flirting with you just for money?
What?
Is it socially understood that the waitress is only being friendly?
Well, if she's doing that, then you can argue that that is mildly exploitative because she's.
Well, how do you know that? How could you? You are the one that's saying that the information is not accurate. So then, how do you have information to the contrary? Your whole point was that it's very difficult to get information like that. So how can you have such an that I need to know. I definitely need to know. It's like, can I get my money back on OF if I failed to get what I paid for? I don't think so.
Trying to leverage false sense of attraction, right? Lead the guy on so he gives her more money. I'm not saying it should be illegal, but yeah, that would be mildly exploitative.
But that's what you go for. Like if you go to Hooters, that's also what you're expecting. When you go to OnlyFans, that's what you're expecting. So no, it's not exploitative.
Okay, common sense. How do you get from 89 to 23? Oh, yeah, okay. Now I understand because you said common sense. Thanks for explaining that.
Do you think most guys voluntarily seeking it out? Do you think most guys on OnlyFans are happy?
I just gave you a study that proved that like they haven't.
I just don't believe that study for a second. It seems like the biggest BS ever.
You also didn't believe that 89% of subs are married men. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, where's the study that's coming from that's showing that all these men are being happy on OnlyFans? Every single OnlyFans. Do you have her?
Well, okay, we can take shots at the quality of studies, but if the study is that they are married or not married, nobody said anything about happiness.
Men who subscribes to OnlyFans looks like they literally want to kill themselves.
Well, hold on, but that's because you're explicitly a dating coach who those types of men are going to, right?
You're targeting the outliers who are already striking out. That's why they're coming to you, right?
All right, Farah, would you say, okay, answer this question brutally honestly. Would you say that, how many subscribers do you have on OnlyFans?
I'm not saying.
Okay, whatever,
I'm not saying because it's not enough.
Just assume it's 1,000. What percentage of your OnlyFans subscribers are people you would actually meet up with and hook up in real life?
I don't know. It's possible.
0.
I go through my Instagram DMs for dates. That's not
0. The answer is 0.
Wait. That's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Is I think that the expectation needs to be it is not. There is no expectation. Now it is possible that you.
That is the key. There should be no expectation. Now, again, for most people who use the app, there probably is no expectation. But just like in real life, when you go out to the restaurant and you know, the waitress is flirting with you, then there's always the one guy in your friend group who's like, "Yo, I think she likes me." Exploitation or not exploitation? Shout out to CT223. Welcome to the party. Just a debate. Is OnlyFans exploitative of their customers and users? Welcome to the party. I think many are content. I mean, maybe. How do you know? Trey said, but the waitress isn't exploiting you because you can tip based off service, and it's her job to make sure she's friendly and give great service for a good tip. A tipper would be doing the exploiting. I'm with you until you get to the tipper doing the exploiting, because if it's her job to do the thing, and you know that she's doing the thing, then it's informed. I just don't think there's any exploitation there at all. But I definitely agree with the first half there. It may say, no, it's hard, but NotSoErudite is not the cute girl next door she appears to be. She is pure evil. Why is she pure evil? Insight said, I went to the VA psychiatrist once. They didn't know who Jung was.
What?
I learned about Carl Jung in 8th grade. 8th grade. Bill Bradley said the article I found said the 89% stat links to a study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior. I'm not sure what standards the journal uses. Some will print almost anything. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
You were charismatic enough with the waitress that she's like, yeah, and she's into it. And that's fine, but that most people know that that's the rarity. I don't want men going into this being like, God damn, if I riz her enough, there's a chance. I think that that's the area where, again, most men are informed enough to know that that isn't a chance. I'm concerned about the small population that are at higher risk.
No OF creators are leading men on in that sense. Like, I lived in
None. No creators are leading men on.
Come on, man.
an OnlyFans house for 6 months. I met like 30 new creators a day. Not a single OF model is ever saying like, there's a chance we'll meet up.
Okay. So I'm going to run that back, but Zippy brings another element here. So we got a lot going on. We got informed consent. We've got dishonesty. And now exploitation requires a gap in power dynamics. So that is something else we got a lot going on. So see, clearly it's not just a simple yes or no. And I think if it's not a clear yes, then the question of is OnlyFans exploitative? The answer has to be no. Because just like, in these situations, a waitress could tell you that she is actually into, or let's use a bartender. That's a little bit more in line with what you would see. Bartender's definitely flirting with you, especially if you're a regular. You're getting the free drink over here now and then. Now that line really is being blurred, and there are a lot of dudes who really think they're getting with the bartender. And I'm just curious how we feel about the difference. Because again, we're trying to keep a principle being consistent. Hey, shout out to Zippy the Strange. Another gifted membership. Oh my God. Let's see if Marty will take it. Take it, bitch. No. What's wrong, Marty? You don't want it? Okay, I don't want to force them, but they are here. That's right. Every single donation comes with a treat for Morty. Thank you. And welcome Jerry Singleton to the Disciples. Make sure you join the Discord. You now have access to the after party and the entire server. Thank you. Deputy Strange. Let me add you to the banner right meow.
Are you kidding?
I'm sorry, that is a lot.
I want to back that up.
A certain area where, again, most men are informed enough to know that that isn't a chance. I'm concerned about the small population that are at higher risk.
No OF creators are leading men on in that sense. Like, I lived in an OnlyFans house for 6 months. I met like 30 new creators a day. Not a single OF model is ever saying like, there's a chance we'll meet up.
Are you kidding?
I'm sorry, that is a lot. That is not
true at all.
She meant most of them don't do that, okay?
Oh, most of them. Yeah. Most of the ones you know personally, maybe. Okay. I mean, actually, I don't know. I don't know. Those are you go. I know you guys aren't going to want to dox yourselves, but I'm curious. Like, for those of you who use the site, how often do you see girls doing things that you would call leading a guy on? That seems like pretty standard.
Okay.
The whole premise of OnlyFans is leading guys on to thinking
it's to give an internet relationship. Most of these guys aren't going to actually meet up with them because, like I said, they're married.
Then why is there a dude in India texting them instead of the girl?
How does that relate at all?
Because the guy thinks that he's building a relationship with a girl, but he's not. He's building a relationship with,
an internet
with someone
relationship.
who lists 20,000.
They're not saying we're going to meet up.
Right, but do you think that if that guy knew he was texting the Indian, that he would actually be engaging and sending him dick pics?
Honestly, I do. I've seen
Really?
Dr. Phil specials where they bring on guys and they're
Okay,
like, this
so
is
tell-
the model.
you should-
Yeah, I'm sure some weird ass dudes would be like, well, whatever. But most dudes at least want the illusion. They want the illusion. They may even know, but they want the illusion. And as long as you're not sure, then you can convince yourself. They're like, oh, okay, I mean, she seems like a real girl. I'm sure she's a real girl. I'm sure the other girl, she acts like a real girl. And typically these guys, they're in a bad marriage, so they've been dating a long time, or they're not good at dating. Just said I can't afford OnlyFans. I don't know. It would work the other way around for it. No, you'd have to make sure you get a good camera, get a good ring light, all that stuff. Plus you got to get a separate phone. You don't want to be giving out, your phone, or I guess you would use like WhatsApp or whatever. Or do they have, is it, can you communicate pretty well in the app? I don't know. Yeah, that's exactly where I am, Zippy. I have no idea. I had no idea why people use it. I don't get it. Bill said to Christian, what you have touched on is why the social sciences are not really science. Yep, exactly. And they said online home market is competitive and cutthroat. Lying is par for the course.
Of course.
Especially if I had money, I'd be simping for a real woman. I mean, that's at least a little bit better. Simping should be never accepted, but at least in real life, that's been a way of life for a long time. I mean, hey. Oh God, the AI. I've seen programs of this. I haven't actually seen it be used anywhere, but I've seen like advertisements and stuff. It's here. Yep.
Tell your OnlyFans subscribers
and they still continue to talk to the scammer
because
they like the intimacy just under the image.
Yeah,
of
but
the model.
women go back to their abusers. That's a terrible argument. We're not gonna do that.
Stop talking over. Like, they're both streamers. You should know how to do this. Any films? The internet is just totally ruining the future of mankind. Nothing better than holding on to a real person while you're sleeping. Body pillow is a close second. Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's, as somebody who's kind of stepped away from dating for the last number of years, it's little things like that I miss most. It's not like, it's not the sexual thing that I miss most. It's just having someone to shoot the shit with, having someone to have inside jokes with and stuff like that. So you said I simp a bit for my friends since I have less than 10 of them. Well, that's not the same. That's not simping. That's just being a good friend. As long as they're being good friends back. CT223 said the creepiest thing to me about OF is a lot of the top girls hire a company or a team to manage their account or messages. So you think you're chatting with a girl, but it's just some guy working.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're talking about. And so the fact that you're bringing this up and they're bringing this up and people know about this, then it has to be an illusion, a blurring of the lines. And especially if you have if you're a bigger creator and you have more than I'm in the stage now of my channel growth where I'm trying to the hardest thing for me right now is not watching the videos and knowing what to say. It's not finding the videos. It's not engaging with you guys. It's not even being nervous to talk, which was the biggest thing for a long time. But right now, for me, it's dealing with the different chats. So we're hovering at 10, 11 people right now. Shout out to the one person over on Twitch. But we, usually we're between 10 and 20 people. And depending on how many people, depending on how chatty everybody is, sometimes I can get to every single message, and sometimes I'm like, we've been going through comments for the last 10 minutes. I don't even remember what the video's about. Like right now, a bunch of you guys have said something, but we've been on this for a minute, so I'm just gonna grab one and dive back in. But there's point being, when you get to a certain size, you can't do it by yourself. And so while you are just one guy alone at night saying, honey, you're so sweet. Thank you for my this, that, whatever you bought. And you get the response right away. And she's like, of course, I love you. And your dick is so shiny. Then it's not reasonable to think that she could do that for every single guy. But as the simp, you get to convince yourself that you're the guy that she's talking to, while all the other guys are the ones that she sends to her team, and so I said, oh man, I thought the bartender was into me. She remembers my name and everything. Yep, heard that story so many times. So I said AI is getting scary. At the same time, I think that's what the older folks said about the internet when it started. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, definitely. May said AI will change the game for normies, but there will always be a demand for a human carnal encounters and human-to-human companionship. Also, and the elite ain't gonna fuck robots like the plebs will. Plot twist: they already are. All right, let's dive back in here, guys.
A bunch of
I'm not saying it's good. He's just saying would they do it. I'm saying I think they still would.
I just want to back us up a little bit. So you're saying that most or all women are not.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Christian said this is just so pathetic for on Farah's end. I had her on Christian said on OnlyFans when I used it. She has a man do her talking in chat and exploits men all the time. I still share her messages with friends and just laugh. Why are you still paying her, bro? Why are you still giving her money? Stop giving her money. Is it that funny? Go sign up. Go pay for the All Things Comedy podcast. Your money will be better well spent than giving it to her. CT said, factor that into underage kids on the site. So it's a minor chatting with a guy pretending to be a girl. Yikes. Yeah, let's sit on that for a minute. Jesus fucking Christ.
Not intentionally trying to blur the line of saying there might be a chance that these guys can fuck me. You say that most women are not doing this?
I'm sure I said in terms of meeting up in person, I've never met someone who says like, yeah, I'll be in this area at this time.
Of course.
Are they giving them an internet sexual and romantic relationship? 100%, but it's completely online.
Sure, but is there some element? So are there girls who go on Tinder and Bumble to promote their OnlyFans?
Yeah.
A dating site?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the purpose behind that if you're not trying to blur the line between reality, which is that
exact opposite. They do that to funnel people to their OnlyFans because they go to their Instagram, to their bio link, to their OF.
Yeah, I don't think that the putting your profile on Tinder is just a way to market your shit. I don't think that.
Right, but the idea is if you were on a dating website or a dating app, the implication is that you're there for dating. So this idea that you're not blurring the lines, you're not leading men on when you've made contact on a dating site, on a dating app, you can't make that argument. Yeah, Bill said, I remember the early days of the internet before webcams were popular. You just always assumed you were talking to some dude pretending to be a girl. You were right more often than not. And now that you say this, I was 12, 13 when AOL Instant Messenger was in its prime. And so I would be talking to, I was in AOL, like just the AOL chat rooms where you just go in, you have your screen name and just people are talking. Then you could DM anyone ASL. And now that I'm saying this is probably the reason why I didn't even put two and two together. But there's definitely times when I was talking to somebody who I didn't know whether it seemed like it was a girl. And we knew that it could have been a Cheeto fingered dude in his mom's basement. Which is certain things you kind of like, and you convince yourself that that second slight, she says F. If you know, you know. Bill goes on to say, looks like that remains true and will be more true when AI comes into play.
Of course.
Yep. Okay, shout out to Christian. Good shit. I don't use OnlyFans anymore. I just wanted to share it to you. Well, I appreciate it, and glad that you were off the juice. Better man for you. Miss Anthropology said they are readily visible to us. They ain't elite. Celebs and politicians are jesters. They ain't elite. Okay, that's we're talking about the elite, not the elite. The elite. Gotcha. Christian said, I was in those chat rooms too. Always a dude or a club penguin. Oh no.
The goal is to, like, when you go on Tinder, because you see them on OnlyFans, now you think you have a higher chance of meeting them. I don't even know if those profiles are really even there. I'm pretty sure they just geolocated across wherever, and then they just throw their OnlyFans link on the thing to market their shit.
Do you think that behavior is aimed to just be like empty promotion of like, I'm obviously just
Oh, and you disagreed with what? I kind of disagree with what? Being on. So I've met. So if you're talking about the women who are going on Tinder and promoting their OnlyFans, sometimes, but that's not always been my experience. They'll talk to you for 2-3 days, and then it's like, oh, check out my. It's like, oh, I just wasted all this fucking time. So I can tell you firsthand, absolutely, it happens.
behavior is aimed to just be like empty promotion of like, I'm obviously.
Hey, shout out to Basil the Pumpkin Seagull. Welcome to the party. We got Destiny and Farah over on this side saying that OnlyFans is not exploitative. And then on the other side, we have Alex of Playing with Fire and the amazingly beautiful NotSoErudite saying that it is exploitative. Welcome to the party.
Just an OnlyFans model selling fake, like a fake fantasy. Or are they trying to say, I'm a local in your area. We can maybe meet up on this Tinder thing. Also, have you checked out my OnlyFans? Which is like
I had agents who pitched it to me and I turned it down because I thought it was too scammy. But like,
okay, so you turned it down. So you think this is the female solipsism it's well, I turned down the offer that the agents said they were going to do the bad thing. Good for you, Farah. Good for you.
the whole point is to try to funnel people from Hinge onto your Instagram just to click that link so you get more page links. It's not to like lead people.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, like before like Tinder, like girls would do this just to grow their Instagram. Like even without trying to funnel you to an OnlyFans, they're for a while, for several years now, girls will just like link their Instagrams on Tinder with the hope that you click it and follow them and they grow their following or whatever.
I think it would be go ahead.
I'm not saying that behavior by itself is the problem. I'm saying there is this systemic issue within OnlyFans, and it is not all OnlyFans creators. I've looked through, some girls who offer GFE have explicit disclaimers on their page. They're pretty much copy and paste, and that's pretty good. This is a fantasy. It's
so in your guys. So again, I'm not looking to. I think it's stupid. I think it's a bad use of your money, and I think it's bad for society if you are giving money to these OnlyFans creators. But I am curious, and if you are interested in sharing, I'm curious, what level of this have you engaged in, and especially if you've gone into the girlfriend experience thing, even if it was just to see what it was like what do they do? Because that's a very big part of understanding this, is understanding what we're talking about. Hey, shout out to Trey Williams. Thank you for the 199. Let's see, we'll give it a shot. No, he's feeling sick. I don't know what is going on with him. Thank you, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated.
It's not real. I have a partner. It is only fantasy. If you expect it to be more, it will never be. But there are also lots of women who are absolutely leaning into teasing the fact of whether or not this could potentially become a relationship.
What? I mean, why would you expect it to be any different? Somebody said it before that, like the male loneliness is, it's a business and it's cutthroat. Whoever said that? Exactly. The fact that Farah, basic ass Farah, would think that, I'm glad you guys are seeing it, because I'm having a hard time even putting together the words to explain how stupid she really is. Shout out again to Zippy the Strange for the gifted membership. Shout out to Adam Price. Make sure you join the Discord. And then we got the Canadian $5 from Basil, the pumpkin seagull, not the pumpkin seagull. It said, OF is exploiting men simply because men don't actually get anything. It's like when you're hungry and someone gives you a video of roast beef dinner. I like that. I like that a lot. Thank you very much, sir. I gotta do the. I think that is okay. Give me a second. We're gonna dive back in. Thank you.
And that is explicitly what I'm saying is exploitative and should stop on OnlyFans.
I think that if you want to make the argument that there is going to be some section of people in the industry that are exploitative, I think everybody here would have to agree to that by default. Much the same that this is true of every single industry that sells any amount of entertainment. There's going to be some level of people that are exploitative. But OnlyFans seems to get a special thing of it. Like we want to broaden this. I don't know how much daylight there is between you and Alex's position, because
that's what I was saying before, is that when Destiny really laid out a good argument about, well, okay, there needs to be informed consent, and you're not informed of what's happening, even if you're informed of the basics, and there dishonesty when you're not actually talking to that girl, you're talking to some guy, that's exploitation. And the response was, well, you know what you're getting into. But as we're getting further along, it seems like you don't actually know what you're getting into. You have no idea. In fact, you might know what you're getting into and purposely, but I guess, again, that if you know what you're getting into, you know it's a dude, you know it's not real, and you still believe, then it falls under what Erudite was saying, that they're dumb, but this America, Jack, being dumb ain't a crime. Being dumb ain't a crime. Thank you again, Basil. Bill Bradley said, these sites are a symptom. Yes, absolutely. Desperate people are trying to hustle, so they have to commodify everything. Using a dating app to funnel people to OnlyFans is a smart business decision, perhaps unethical, but smart, definitely. MA said, men are not beasts. They can refrain from this degenerate behavior they are choosing to indulge. Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, we got Daniel Cabrera in the building. Welcome to the party. Had a little bit of an accident, but he is coming back strong. Welcome to the party, brother. Very, very, very glad to see you are doing all right. Good to see you, brother. Bill said, we've become cynical about dating as a society too, as a society to boot. So to see using a dating site for financial gain becomes easier morally. Exactly. All of this stuff, and that's what I was saying before, is that it's not just about how it affects the individual, but it's about how it's turning society at large. And that's not good. So I suppose, being cynical to an extreme degree can skew one's morals. Yeah. Just talk about it said, if they want to get something in return, they would buy a sex worker. They clearly want a video if that's what they bought. Yeah, but again, I agree with the face of the statement. They knew it was a video. They knew that she wasn't going to come out of the screen, and they bought it anyway. But first of all, you're not getting a sex worker for $5. A lot of people don't have that much. So it's not that simple. Boats and hoes. Oh my goodness. Again with the Canadian 5 from Basil. Thank you, sir. I believe that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. And ironically, women are also hurt by OnlyFans. It's degrading enough to get nude in public, but sticking things in your orifices in public is rock bottom. It really is. They want to pretend that it's not affecting them because in the immediate, they have the money that's like, oh, well, okay, and they're not seeing the effects of it. But like we were talking with Red before, and he's saying, my step aunt, she's not thinking about her step nephew when Farah's not thinking about her siblings. You know what I mean? She's not thinking about the kids of the people. She's not thinking about those people. And there's eventually going to come a point in her life where somebody that she doesn't want seeing that shit is going to see that shit. And more, it's going to be the guys that she's trying to date as she gets older and older and older. Sad. Very, 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 very sad. Let me just 1 second here. 724. Boom. So we got a new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so much, Basil. Very, very, very much appreciated.
It seems like Alex is saying that this is the norm, and you're saying that this is like a small percentage of it. All right, what is your guys' opinion on, what are the percentage of OnlyFans creators that you think, it doesn't have to be exact, but I'm just curious, approximately, you think are engaging in behavior that you would comfortably define as exploitative?
I mean, it depends how far you go down exploitative. Like, is it exploitative for the girl to lead the guy on? Does she have to explicitly promise to meet him?
Wait, what does lead the guy on mean?
There you go.
Like, given the idea that they're going to meet up.
What does giving the idea mean?
it,
If you chat with a girl, is that leading?
Yeah, if the girl's flirting with him, which again is some dude in India saying, "Oh yeah, I love your big dick. Haha, if I'm ever in your area, we'll meet up." Right?
Wait, hold on.
Shout out again to Basil the Pumpkin Seagull, our new co-sponsor of the stream with Zippy the Strange. Thank you guys, very, 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 very much appreciated. Bill says to Jess, I suppose if prostitution was actually legal more, men would use it. But I'm not sure when one is legal and one is illegal. It's a fair, if it's a fair comparison. Yeah. Anyone says, Jess, not sure. I would not know where to just find a sex worker around here, but OnlyFans would be easy. Yep. Easy and cheap. MA said, Basil, women been shoving random things down their orifices well before OnlyFans. Yeah, but that's because they wanted to, not because it was a commodity. That's the big difference. That's the big difference. Basil, our sponsor of the stream, says to our other sponsor of the stream, yeah, the simps that pay for it are looking for female validation, which makes it worse because they know they are getting a video of the physical, but the real emotional, but not the real emotional connection. Yep. Christian says it's also destroying women's potential to have a faithful partner later on because their promiscuity, but also because they make too much money to want to date a normal guy. Yeah, that's also an issue. You could not make enough money, and then, like in any job, you can make too much money where now I need a guy who makes $5,000 and I'm only 20 years old. It's like, not happening. Not happening. Larry Plus said, if the roles were switched and it was men pretending to be interested in women in order to profit off their desperation, I'm pretty sure people would think it's exploitation.
Of course.
But, double standards, eh?
Leading the guy on.
Okay, wait, I want to drill down this for a real
Go
quick.
ahead, drill down.
Yeah, okay. When you say lead on, you said 3 different statements in there. You're funny, you've got a big dick, let's meet up eventually. 2 of these are online flirtations. Right. The third one I would say is maybe leading on. Definitely. Right? But you're mixing all of these together.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what if it's more subtle? What if he says, yeah, maybe someday I'll visit your city, haha. More subtle.
If the guy is himself suggesting it,
no, the girl suggested, haha.
If the girl, yeah,
I love Dallas.
We could say if the girl is suggesting it, then that's probably some form of like leading on. Sure.
Okay.
Sure. But what is the percentage of like all the OnlyFans girls that we think are engaged in this behavior? Because
I mean, it's just like YouTube in this way. Like you think that like the big YouTubers, they are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a week. Some $10,000 a stream. Some, if they're not streaming, they're doing videos. You can get, within like the same kind of money within a week. But on the lower totem pole, I'm like a failed OnlyFans girl.
Depends on which behavior we're identifying, right? So,
for Alex, I want to know what percentage both of you think is exploitation, because it sounds like what you're talking about is like 2%. So it sounds weird to say OnlyFans is exploitative, but it sounds like Alex thinks it's like 70%.
So I think
this is another tactic that I'm picking up from Destiny. That when we talk about these vague things, that maybe we don't have the data, maybe we don't have a good, clear definition of exactly what we're talking about. When we're talking about leading on, how much are these people leading on? And we're just kind of, well, I don't know, it's not all of them, but so many of them. And so Destiny would say, okay, well, give me a ballpark percentage. And that's a really good way to get a perspective, because we all know the 0 to 100, we all have a frame of reference for what that means. And even if it's not scientific, I don't know exactly, but I would say it's somewhere between 30 and 50, or I would say it's at least 75, or whatever that answer is. That's going to be at least a starting point. And it doesn't have to be scientific. It doesn't have to be accurate for it to be what percentage do you personally think do this? If we don't know, then we don't know. It's just what you think. Like when they asked, where was it? I forget what Red Pill podcast it was, but somebody was asking, I think it was Fresh and Fit. Oh, I think it was when Destiny was on Fresh and Fit. And he was asking how many, what percentage of college girls are getting flued out? And they were like, 40, 60%? We're like, what? 40 to 60%, bro? No, not at all. Like, yeah, it's a lot of them, but it's not 40%. And so that gives you, then now we can talk about why 40% is a ridiculous number. Even if some women are doing this, then the issue that 40% of women are doing this, 60%, that's now we have a somewhere to go with the conversation. Zibi says, without deception, there can be no exploitation. at least in this context of porn fans and OnlyFans girls. Yeah, I'll agree with you. Just, when you get into a thing like with Farah signing with an agency, then the agency can be exploiting her, and then by her not being the one actually talking, now the agency is exploiting the men. But again, I think that takes it out of the hands of OnlyFans, and it puts it on the creator themselves. I want to post it. Is that really the hill to die on? Someone saying, I might go by that town sometime. Again, with the outliers. Christian said, it's giving women a false sense of security in a business model. They will fall off as younger women come into play. That's another reason why it's horrible for society. Well, that's enough comments from me. Nah, man, you're bringing it. You're bringing it. I love them. I love them. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Basil says, Jess, it's an incorrect analogy. The OnlyFans slur is like a video of a roast dinner. The hooker is like a military rations for $400. A true girlfriend or wife is still $400, but it's quality filet mignon. Oh, that, my friend, is a good analogy. Let's drink to that analogy. Well done, sir. Well done. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing to add to that. Well done. Listen, I think there are a lot of people with a false sense of security right now. AI is coming for everyone. Machine learning came for the color blue, but AI will come for the white collar jobs. Scary.
I think some of the more extreme behaviors would be really small, right? Girls being like, let's meet up. Can you pay for my visa? Obviously, I think that's a very small. It's going to be mostly girls coached by Andrew Tate, right?
Okay. So we're saying, when you say we'll say less than 5%.
Right. That's the most extreme group. The issue is I think that there are a number of accruing behaviors towards that. And TOS should probably be before, hey, can you send me $5,000 so I can move in with you, right? I think the TOS should be extended a little bit higher than that. So my issue would be, for example, when I was looking at the girlfriend experience advice board on the OnlyFans thing, one of the questions was, how often when you offer the girlfriend experience do men fall in love? And
that's a great question. How often? What percentage of the time? For any man, well, for every man who does engage in this girlfriend experience, what percentage of them end up falling in love? I would bet that it's at least 60. Basil said, I'm in it. I know AI quite well. It will be a wrecking ball to OF and porn, which I'm 100% in support of. I mean, hey, as long as I got alternatives, I'm down.
They said almost always. And the answers of a lot of these girls was, these men know what they're consenting to. It's not my fucking problem if they're too stupid to realize that it's a fantasy. And
which is true. It is not their responsibility if they are too stupid. That absolutely is the truth. But that doesn't mean that it's not a bad thing for it to be happening in society. So again, we're getting very, we have a lot in the air here. And we need to, I think they need to say, okay, we have the definitions of an exploitation. We're seeing that the leading on part, the blurring of the reality versus the fantasy, all of these things. So now let's take all of these factors and apply it to the actual site. And is the site, is the company, what's the word? Are they are they perpetuating this in a way that can be attributed back to them versus someone abusing what the platform was supposed to be? I hope that makes sense. CT said, this is a dicey topic because I'm not against sex workers, strippers, or even OF models. If they want to do it, they can do it. This is America. Just needs to protect minors better. Yeah, I mean, that should be, I would hope that nobody thinks that it's okay for a minor to be using OnlyFans. I would hope. So I think we could just leave that there. All agreed. Bill said, CT, I think all of those things are detrimental to the individual and society, but I would not use the law to combat it. However, I would use social stigma. You mean like shame and mockery? Works for me. Works for me.
And that to me feels a little yucky. It feels like we can have a harder line with these women, with not just these women, because it's also men on OnlyFans. Because to be honest, I would bet male OnlyFans offer.
Bill is on point. Bill is always on point. Let's drink to that. Bill is always on point. Bill, if you haven't already, I haven't seen you in, I don't know if you joined the Discord or not, but now that you are a member, you get access to the full thing. So make sure you DM me, you join and you DM me so I can get you all of that stuff that you are owed, sir.
Probably even more of this boyfriend experience than women do. There has to be a harder line in saying you cannot imply and lie as much as possible towards the edge, not as far as inviting them over to your house, to make them think that this fantasy might, in your case, become reality.
I think
you can't be led to believe that you're the special one.
It would be a lot more admirable if you just own it and you were like, yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, sure, we're taking money from these Sims, but, you know, it's a free country. It should be legal. It is legal. So, you know, it is what it is.
Okay, I thought he meant for the women to be honest with the their customers. Like, obviously, that's not going to work. All right, let's run this back, because I think I agree with this.
You're the special one.
It would be a lot more admirable if you just own it and you were like, yeah, you know what? Like, yeah, sure, we're taking money from these Sims, but, you know, it's a free country. It should be legal. It is legal. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm a businesswoman. That's how I make my money. Instead of trying to, like, basically say, oh, it's actually a good thing for the man. Like, do you think if a casino owner was talking on this debate panel, he was like, yeah, you know, my casino is actually helping men, would that be a fair thing for him to say?
If he cited a study, sure, but I cited a study that proves that, like I said, it improves
Just in the hypothetical.
See, the lefties, they can't just have a human conversation. We're not asking for a study. We're asking for you to imagine a hypothetical situation where a man owns a casino. How would you feel about him saying that his casino is helping men? No study needed. It's your personal feelings and opinion. Jesus, fuck these. And they said modern dating is trash. Modern marriage is trash. Modern online sexuality is trash. The modern condition is trash. Yep. Basil said banning stuff never solves anything. Banning is like wrapping an insane psychotic with a straitjacket and mouthguard. You've quieted the situation, but the guy is still suffering. Well said. Well said. Zippy says to Basil, which was the same for farmhands who got replaced by the gas and steam engine or musician. What are you talking about? Bill said, indeed, social stigma does not infringe on anyone's freedom, though. It just attempts to implement societal norms through social pressures instead of legislative intervention. This is what we need. We need to start shaming people in an appropriate way. We need to bring back a level of shame, because now we've gotten to a place where any amount of shame is seen as immoral. And that's just not the case. If you do some shameful shit, then you deserve to be shamed for it. And you're going to be better off for having been shamed for it than to be affirmed and celebrated for being fat and stupid and ignorant. Shame never killed anybody. You get a little bit of shame where you deserve it, and you fix your shit. Do we get this one already? Yeah, we were on. Christian said they also always fall back on the studies. The devil is in the details. Yeah, and that's fine if you are well read on the study, and the study does actually follow what you're trying to say. There's no issue with that. But within some very basic stuff, like as soon as we see it's from Psychology Today, okay, it's politically biased. Anything in from the APA is going to be politically biased. Yeah, right. Do you have a hypothetical study? Do you have a study for that hypothetical? Do our imaginations need citations? If you're on the left, apparently. CT says social stigma is important, but you also can't force a social stigma. That's what an oppressive government would do. But you don't have to force anything because it's an organic thing. And so I'm willing to say, hey, you're more of a loser than you would be if you weren't paying for OnlyFans. You're more of a loser than you would be if you weren't paying for OnlyFans. And it's not up to me to dictate that societal norm. It's whether or not we agree with each other when we're looking at, I'm not talking about you, but any one particular person. And so then the idea is that nobody's forcing you to get off the app, but you personally feel, oh, because of the social stigma, it's not worth it anymore. We've gotten rid of that stigma. So even though it is a very bad thing, there's no shame. So people just do the thing. At least before, we didn't want to outlaw it, but at least before there was shame. And now it's just, Hey, we got Poon Cooter in the building. Welcome to the party. Said I talked to Rob Noer. You said he'd love to talk to you. Hit him up on social media. Thank you, Poon Cooter. I will definitely do that. Let me take a note of that right meow. All right. Thank you, and welcome to the party. They gotta replace some workers. The March of Innovation. Yep, I know it's coming. Just call the women whores again. The men are beta bitches.
Beta.
I mean, yeah. But I mean, again, it doesn't have to be drastic and for the purpose of I just dropped a video, I think it was today or yesterday. We were talking with the panel with Emma Vigilant, and she was talking about mockery, and she's saying, yeah, I think mockery is great. Like I'll say that Tim Pool or Steven Crowder is a piece of shit any day. But the way that she's saying it, she's interacting as if that's the political tactic. Is instead of engaging with anything they say, I'm just going to say that they're stupid and they're racist and they're this and they're that, so that people don't get, sucked into their whatever. That's not good. But if you're trying, it should be a means to an end. The end being a better society where people have respect for their bodies and respect for themselves and respect for each other. Then yeah, mockery is a good trait. Mockery is a good trait if that's where we're headed. Yeah, they're all, I mean, and it's a goddamn shame. It's a goddamn shame because science is the only method that we have to learn any of this stuff. And so when they get in there and co-opt the entire institution of science and medicine, it's like, I know that sounds like a conspiracy, but what do you want me to say? I wanted to post it in this sweatshops example. How much do you really trust the words of a casino owner making the claim? It's something important in how I would feel about what they say. Not the point. The point is casinos are not helping men. You go to a casino to lose a bunch of money. And that's not the sweatshop. That's a different example than the casino. The sweatshop was way long ago. Jess said shame never controlled anything. Then why are people why is there so much more porn now? That's the most incorrect statement you've ever said, Jess. I'm sorry. But that's completely incorrect. Shame shapes society. There's a reason that you're not on OnlyFans right now. What is that reason? Shame. May said, Jess, shame is a handy social tool. It certainly can be abused. It shouldn't be abandoned. Well said. I think that is our comment of the night. Dilly dilly to MA for that comment. Well said, sir. Well said, sir. Zibby said to Jess, so the woke shaming people is not controlling anything? Yeah, because people are so openly racist, just like they were in the 60s, right? People are so openly sexist like they were in the 50s, right? That all came from shame. All right, let's jump back in here a little bit.
Like, let's pretend there's no study.
In response to what you were saying about,
She just ignores the question.
Because you completely detoured from what she was saying. So you were saying that the parasocial element is what makes it exploitative, but I'm saying I would say you're a streamer, right? There's probably men in your audience who are in love with you. Like you start off every stream being like, I'm never gonna be friends with you people. You might think of them in your area and we do like a meet and greet or something, or you meet me at TwitchCon that we'll become friends, but we won't. I just want you to all know I'm not your actual friend. Right. And I'm making money off you.
Okay, let's just do that. Because as much as we are friendly, I am here to make money off of you guys. I am here to spread my message and hopefully get money for it. So if anybody's confused, that's what we're doing here. Does that mean that I'm lying? Does that mean that I don't enjoy talking to you guys? Does that mean that I'm putting on a front? Does that mean I'm a character? No. Does it mean I'm AI? Maybe. No, I'm not. But we have to be aware of the realities. We have to be aware of the realities. There's somebody who I'm not going to name who is in our server and there's a different server that I go to. If I ever have stuff that I need to complain about YouTube, just in general, I don't want to bring it to you guys because my point is to entertain you guys. That's the relationship that we have. And so, you know, for some of you, we have a little bit closer relationships than others. But at the end of the day, we all have to remember that y'all are watching me, and I'm not watching any of you. That doesn't mean that anybody's better than anybody else. That just means that we have to be aware of that dynamic.
Part of what I'm talking about is the population that you're trying to appeal to. I'm not trying to appeal to the loneliest men and go, hey guys, like, ignore my husband.
You're not trying to, but I would say there's a lot of lonely people who can like fester and, you know,
Nick is in the basement.
Twitch chats all day.
I would actually qualify even harder. I think the percentage of lonely people, not to attack my own audience, is actually probably far higher in the streamer world than it is in the OnlyFans world, just because of the massive.
No, unwanted foe, but this is the point. You don't go to a casino specifically to lose money, but the fact is you typically do. So if you are to claim that you are helping men as a casino owner, then you have a lot more to answer to. That's the point. Do you disagree with the fact that just being a casino owner doesn't give you the right to claim that you help men? That's what we're talking about here. That's what's going on. Shout out to Christian Packard with the $5 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Said, honesty is the best policy. Take my money, exploitative bastard. Let's go. I'm stealing it from you, and I'm not giving nothing back. I'm actually leaving. Bye. No, I'm just kidding.
Amount of time sink you have.
Thank you very, very, very much, sir. Much appreciated.
In the streamer world, there's probably people, if I had to guesstimate, again, cut the mic for the DGGers, okay? But like,
shout out to Jess. Thank you for coming through. You have a good one.
The average OnlyFans subscriber probably has a more successful social life than the average, like.
Oh, this is a good point. I remember him talking about this.
Guesstimate, again, cut the mic for the DGGers, okay? But like, the average OnlyFans subscriber probably has a more successful social life than the average like online YouTuber stream content consumer that's watching for 5+ hours a day. I feel pretty comfortable.
Sure, I would probably agree with that. Then again, I mean, I'm happy to go into the ethics of parasocial dynamics as well. The issue is that
see, they're saying parasocial. How is it not parabond? I know I read parabond in my textbooks. Everybody says pair bond. As in, when you have sex, it releases oxytocin and you bond as a pair. But it's parasocial, you know, it's parasocial, meaning going one way, and the inability to do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid.
I think streamers overstep this line all the time. The question is, am I manipulating their loneliness specifically to rake as much money as possible from them and lying to them bold-faced around?
Okay, guys. So we had our original poll of is OnlyFans exploitative of its customers, and that ended with 28 votes at a clear 50-50 down the middle. So as we're we're not quite done yet, but we're near the back end. So same question. I know we have a number of different people here, but let's see what you got to say. Zibby said, hoes and boats are well and fine until you screw your own adult daughter. What? You on one tonight, bro? You on one. Bill said maybe, but an overextended military to the point of relying on mercenary forces to supplement heavily is not a good sign. Certainly. Okay, see now, this is what I'm saying. It's difficult because clearly this is a response to something that Basil said, and I skipped it, and so I'm working on it. I'm wondering if you're confusing the example, I think. Sweatshop was saying, oh, no. I thought you were saying the sweatshop example. You're calling him sweatshop. I misunderstood what you're saying. So let's go back to that. Where did you? I thought you were thinking that we were talking about the sweatshop and the person being a casino owner. Oh, so okay. In his example, how do you really trust the words of a casino owner making the claim? That's not the point. That's not the point, dude. Again, that's not the point. The point is, do you feel that just based on the information that somebody runs a casino, that doesn't mean that somebody who owns a casino can't help other people? Shout out Donald Trump. All we're saying is that was a rebuttal to Farah saying, well, I'm on OnlyFans, therefore I help men. And so Sweatshop is saying, okay, so then do you think it's fair then for a man who owns a casino to say, by the virtue of simply owning a casino, I help men? And the answer is no. Zippy said, why is the woman so worried about what people are doing in their bedrooms? Well, I mean, because it matters. It matters. The people, how people feel in their bedrooms relates to all of this other stuff. Emma said, Paramount, if that were true, you and I would be besties. All right. I guess it's not true then. I know you love me, but not that much, right? Basil, yeah, see, I'm gonna, okay, so now I'm gonna try to keep these for when we're watching the video. So if if you're talking to me, then don't like tag them at the end. That's a good way to go about it. See, we're learning. CD said parasocial relationships are a huge problem in today's society. That's why we care. A lot of streamers use that same parasocial tendencies to manipulate that audience that is also exploiting. Yep. That's why I felt like, I mean, I feel like you guys are smart enough to know, but let me just put it out there. So now I am the ethical OnlyFans girl, unless I'm AI, and you'll never know. Why are you shaking? It's not raining. There's no fireworks. I don't know what he's bugging about. MA said, Zippy, it's all cover. She's a Destiny clone, but LARPing as a Christian. She's already been exposed. Is this Farah or Erudite? No way. Christian says, the person who makes the cocaine exploitive, or is the dealer, or is the customer just dumb and exploiting himself? They are all true. I think, and that's the thing about this conversation is that it kind of nobody is always, no position is always in the wrong. So the platform isn't always in the wrong. The creator isn't always in the wrong. The user isn't always, being damaged. But these things can happen. And so where do we draw the line on all that stuff? Shout out to Bill Bradley. Thank you so much for hanging out, brother. It was awesome to see you. You have a good one. Standing before you leave, people are just completely asleep, uninterested in waking up. Yep, definitely. All right, let's dive back in here.
Specifically to rake as much money as possible from them and lying to them bold-faced around.
You don't think
all
that's the nature of a Twitch streamer?
I don't think that's the nature of most
not every Twitch streamer. There's some, yeah.
Yeah, some I would say are unethical.
You don't think the business model of any streamer is to make money off someone with way too much free time and a lack of a healthy social life in order to make money?
No, I would say that.
Well, okay, I they're thinking Twitch where you're streaming like 10 hours a day. I was thinking about that recently, and I was like, because I would love to be like, that's my job. Like, I just wake up when at 1 p.m., 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm on stream, and then I go to bed. But I don't think that I'm that kind of streamer. I don't think it would be very I don't think like you guys have jobs and shit, so it's not like you'd be here all day. I'd just be sitting around. So I think it is a different kind of thing, but who knows? Maybe one day. Any of them said, I'd like to think pair bonding is a thing, but unfortunately, I think only someone with 1 or 2 partners could achieve it. Typically, they say around 5 is the cutoff, but in psychology, how do they know? So Emma is talking about Erudite. There is e-drama that indicates she cheated on her Christian husband with Destiny. It's all a mess. These debate bros are basket cases. I mean, I don't know. Who cares? Like, I do not care. I could not care less. She's an intelligent woman, and I'm taking her words as they are. It's a good conversation. Whether she did any of this shit, I could not care less. Hey, we got Stephanie Miller in the building. Welcome to the party. So the OnlyFans workers only know what they are told. So I don't think you can accuse them of exploiting. They are giving what is paid for. The people paying are well informed of what they are getting. Well, that is the question now, isn't it? That is the question. Because we came up with, before we were using this phrase, knowing what you're getting into. Well, what does that mean? So, Stephanie, let me ask you specifically. Would you also say that somebody who sells, because this was playing with Alex's example. So if somebody's never done heroin before and somebody sells them heroin, is that exploitative? The byline being, the reason I would ask that, obviously they know what heroin is, but they would have no way of knowing what heroin is actually going to do to them. So there you go. So now we have a situation where you're saying that you're informed, but you're not informed. You think you're informed, but you're not. If you have you can have the case since the pimp is the OF company, the slur is the girl, and the John is the idiot paying for non-services. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's yeah. I mean, we'll be fair to Stephanie because we all kind of wanted to say yes, no, this, that, whatever. But as we've seen, as we've gone through this, there's a lot at play, and there's a lot of it depends. There's a lot of it depends. She says, I can't blame the person that sold it to me, and usually the dealer doesn't know if they have used before. No, but that's the situation I'm giving you. So you're with somebody who has never done heroin before, and then there's another person who knows they've never done heroin before and still tries to sell them heroin. Is that exploitative? Or does, because of the fact that the person who's never done heroin and has no frame of reference for what the effects of heroin are, besides reading about them, how could you possibly be fully informed on what you're doing? That's the question that we are using to kind of use as an analogy, that obviously you understand on both sides, whether you're a user or you're a content creator, you understand the basics of what you're doing. You understand that you're putting pictures of your body out there. You understand that you're selling this. You understand that you're buying this, that, whatever. But do you understand what buying that and consuming that actually does? In the same way that the person who's never done heroin has no way of knowing that they can't handle, trust me, you can't handle it. They have no way of knowing they can't handle being a heroin addict. And so they might think, hey, everything I've ever done in my life, people said I could never do it. Good, I think I could do this. So I did it. So I think I could do this. And so if that's not exploitative, and OnlyFans not exploitative for the same purpose, then I mean it's tough. It's tough. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot. Zippy said the majority of OF was a honey trap. Government would love to be involved in it. Oh yeah, they would love that. Oh, that would be Epstein Island 2.0. Easy. Oh man. I said OnlyFans workers are just dumb. Not having no agent having workers. What the fuck? That seems actually sexist. Women have high agency. They are choosing to profit off their sexualities and sometimes toy with loser simps. Yep. Basil said to Stephanie, the girls doing it perfectly know that they are manipulating men. They don't care. These men just beast of burden and no real people. I mean, like we said, it's a wide range, but certainly that can be, the argument can be made.
It's not to cause negative outcomes for them, right?
Is mine with the intention of causing negative outcomes? Is that what I go in with the mindset of?
You probably don't, because you don't.
Well, okay, since the two of you in a row are new here. So Christian says, my point, and this is why God is important, because we are created in his image to have divinity upon us. But if it were just people, there's no excuse not to exploit people because they're dumb enough to do it. Basil said, I'm agnostic, but Christianity is needed. No, the fuck it's not. My whole goal with this channel is to create the American. What, you back already? Come on, I'm on a roll. The American identity. There are too many people like Basil, who's an agnostic, like myself, who was born into the Catholic Church and what's the word? Confirmed in the Methodist Church, but I became an anti-theist. Not only do I not believe, but I believe that religion is one of the worst things ever to happen to humanity. However, and I do mean how, and then ever, that the values, Judeo-Christian values, are what's needed. The values are what's needed. If you get there, if we say this is Judeo-Christian values or Christian values, whatever you want to call it, if you get here because you believe in a God, great. If you got here because you studied moral philosophy and you don't believe in a God, awesome. It's not Christianity. It's not God. It's the values. And those values, as long as they're connected to a dogmatic belief in something that cannot be proven, there will always be moral people who hold those values who you will say are not part of the club. And I would hope that I'm part of your club, the club of believing that these values are the most important thing. And the fact of the matter is, you are never going to get most atheists back into believing in God, whether you want to or not. And that number of atheists is growing. So if you want to hold on to this antiquated idea that we need to believe in a man in the sky, then I'm telling you, you're going to lose. But if you want to come along for the ride and let's redo how our society works, and you can be a Christian, he can be a Muslim, and he can be a Hindu, and he can be an atheist, and I can be an atheist, and we all are on the same team. We all want the same thing for society. It's either that or the leftists win. You choose. You choose. Wow. Okay. I mean, there's most people are Christians here. I'm glad that that you're not feeling that way anymore. But if you gotta, wow. See, this is what it is. This is how society is going to falter. You could sit here for 2.5 hours, and be like, oh, I like what this guy is saying. Yeah, I agree with this. But because he's not in my club, I can't be here. And fair enough. That's if that's how you want to live your life, then I wish you the best of luck on your journey as well. But I'm disappointed, brother. Disappointed.
To think about, but that's exactly what's happening.
Wait, what are the negative outcomes? What are the negative outcomes?
I just want to go back to this question because it wasn't answered. Do you think if I'm a casino owner, I own Caesars or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, guys, my casino, it's actually helping people. It's helping guys. It's helping my customers. Would you say that that's a fair statement for me to say?
If it's not based in any reality or studies, then no.
Okay,
I just don't think it's a compelling analogy.
Why is it not? Because I'm taking their money and they're not getting anything in return besides short-term dopamine spikes.
Hold on, wait. No, even on your example could be defeated with certain data. Let's say hypothetically, there's an area of dispossessed people with low economic opportunity, or people that are just, I don't know, it's a shitty area, commit a lot of crime, whatever bullshit. Let's say that you set up a casino there, and let's say you employ a lot of people. There are people.
All right, so let's do this before he gets into that. Christian says, what? You told me that's not what this channel is about. I don't want to argue with you in chat. I just respect your journey. Well, number one, I love to argue with people in chat. That's the whole reason that we're here, is no one person has the answer. So we need to argue about stuff so that we can figure stuff out. Two, nobody's arguing with you. Nobody's saying you can't believe in God. The whole point is that we need to bring more people into this team of, hey, we should believe in grace. We should believe in merit. We should believe in family. We should believe in community. We should believe in capitalism. All these things are part of what I call the American identity. There's nothing saying that you can't have dogma. You can't believe in God. You can't believe in this. I don't care how you come to respect family, community, all of these things. I don't care. That's irrelevant. If you believe in God and he saved your life, that is amazing. I'm so glad that you're still here. But if you're telling me that we can't be on the same team unless I believe in a thing that you cannot tell me, then we're going to go nowhere. And as long as you keep yourself only with the people who believe what you already believe, you're not going to go anywhere either. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. I think that, I really want you to stay. But, I mean, it's, can't save them all, right? Basil said, I'm not an atheist. I have no idea if there's a God or not. I hope there is. So if you don't have, so that means you're an agnostic atheist. So we go over this all the time. People mix up these words all the time. A is a prefix that means without. So Gnosticism with a lowercase g means knowledge. Theism means belief in a God or gods. So all I am is an agnostic atheist. I don't believe there is no God. I don't believe there is a God. I don't know if there's a God, and neither do you. But so that makes me agnostic, and I don't have a God belief, so I'm also without theism. Agnostic theism. So Basil, welcome to the club. You are indeed an atheist. Atheist does not mean I believe there is no God. It means that when you ask the question, do you believe in a particular God or gods? The answer is either no or I don't know. Indie Film said, I don't think the majority of patrons think that they actually have a chance with the woman on the other side of the screen. I think this is a suspension of disbelief. They know it's not real. Well, again, maybe the majority. But even if it's a strong minority, let's say it's 30, 35%. That's a lot of men. How many? Let's see. Excuse me. How many men in America use OnlyFans? Sorry, let's just see what that gets us. 6. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Let's see what we got. Enterprise apps today. I just want a number. I just want a raw number. Let's bring this up. Where's the number? All right. Well, if anybody can find a hard number, I'd be very interested. Okay. U.S. 40. Jesus Christ. 400 million. 400 million. Jesus Christ. Does this count both users and you're on 40 users? So this doesn't tell if this is 400. That can't be 400 million users. That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, even if it's 30% of the men, that's 30% of 400 million men who don't know that it's not real. You know? Christian said, I completely agree. That's why I donated to you. I'll still tune in. There we go. But I don't want to make your video about God because of one comment. You'll have a long video ahead of you. Hey, we've been there before and we will be there again. You are very much welcome here. And the fact that, you know, the show goes where it goes. Like I said, not the first time that we've derailed to have the conversation, but because it's important, and I want to have it with each and every person who I think can be part of this movement. Yes, this. I mean, exactly. This is what I want. So that's what I was thinking in the film. I was just thinking that. Where is it? That's why I'm confused by this. There's only 350 million people. So how is there 400 million? Oh, they're okay. Devices. So it's devices, not people. It's by device. So if you have like 6 devices, you got your phone, you got your laptop, you got your desktop, you got your iPad, and so I mean, you know, I don't know, but that is a lot of people. Zippy says, I get flustered with religion because it's a mofo and rabbit hole. Yep, yeah. Did I come too hard? I feel like that. Pause. Did I go too hard though? I feel like that was pretty average. Yeah. All right. Well, I apologize if I came out a little too hard, but you know, as Zippy said, I get a little flustered. I'm not perfect. I apologize. MA said pineapple pizza is the true enemy. You just haven't had good pineapple pizza, and it's called Hawaiian. And if you're just eating pizza with pineapple and no ham, then that is gross. But the ham, not even bacon. You would think that bacon would be better, and in 99.9% of places it is, but not with that pineapple pizza. Right? Yeah, exactly. So I am also without a God and without the knowledge of whether or not there is a God. I hope that there is no God, but I do absolutely miss believing in a God. I miss feeling like there's somebody watching all over this. I miss feeling like I was on a plan, that somebody was planning this out. And it took a long time to read and study and be angry and be very mean to people that didn't deserve it. And I had to get through that to realize, okay, this is not the way to be. You know, the Christian life I was living was a good life. It just wasn't true. And so I don't need anything to tell me to behave this way, that way, or the other way. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. So people can be agnostic atheists and agnostic theists. Exactly. You get it. All right, so let's go. Now we're getting down to this casino
area of dispossessed people with low economic opportunity, or people that are just I don't know. It's a shitty area, commit a lot of crime, whatever bullshit. Let's say that you set up a casino there, and let's say you employ a lot of people. There are people, and they go in and gamble. Maybe some of them get addicted, maybe it's bad, but overwhelmingly, like the amount of crime falls. People go there and they have fun there. They watch shows. They go out to eat. They do whatever. You could make that argument that my casino in this area has actually been like a net gain for like the people of this city. If that was the case, would it be?
I'm not talking about for the people of the city. I'm talking about the customers.
Yeah, the customers are the people in the city. So I'm asking, well, let's say hypothetically, I'm calling hypothetically. Let's say that was the case that happened. Would then it be fair for him to make that statement that my casino has actually improved the lives of the people coming to the casino?
It has improved the lives of the local area, not the customers.
The customers.
That's the question, bro. That's the question. Is he improving the lives of the customer? The analogy would be the OnlyFans creator helping the men. That's the question.
The casinos. Before this, my customers were out on the street. They were fighting with people. They were doing whatever. You lose money doing. Hold on. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. In every piece of entertainment society, you lose money. You lose money playing video games. You lose money going out to eat. You lose money buying drugs. Everything is losing money. Yes.
Do you think gang members who are shooting each other in the street are gonna be like, oh, well, now there's a casino, so I don't have to perform robberies. I can just go in and gamble. Like that analogy doesn't hold any water.
Hold on.
What? So instead of doing an armed robbery, you're going to go and gamble your money because...
What?
I don't have to perform robberies. I can just go in and gamble. Like that analogy doesn't hold any water.
Hold on. Not only does it not hold water, it might actually perfectly hold water. I don't know 1,000,000%, but it wouldn't surprise me if, for instance, in Romania, where our good mutual friend Andrew Tate resides, that gang dealers doing investments into things like casinos might be better than them doing investments into things like drug trades. Maybe it's possible, right? I'm not saying that this is 100% what could happen. Or Native Americans feel like when they run casinos, it benefits them. People go and visit. They feel like they have fun, so it benefits them. Like, why get in between the transaction that everybody is consenting to?
No one is saying in between. Like, this is a complete red herring. The idea that we want to make it illegal or block it.
Why say that it's unethical or immoral? Who are you to say?
That's a different question.
Who are you to say that the customer that goes and spends $100 on blackjack or craps for the night isn't feeling like he got a good spend for his money? You got a good return for his money.
I'm sure.
Nah, bro, that's not how it works. This is the same. This is then if that's the argument that you're making, then why is it different with OnlyFans? Well, he feels good when he's so he's helping. That doesn't hold water.
Sure, you can make that argument about anything. Oh yeah, I spent.
Then make it about OnlyFans. Why can you say for OnlyFans?
Okay, the same thing with a car dealership. Say the car dealer knows you don't know shit about car, or the mechanic. Go mechanic. He knows you don't know shit about car. He upcharges you like crazy. You think you got a good deal, but was that not exploitative since he totally ripped you off?
Wait, how are the OnlyFans girl? I know how to beat my dick. What are they telling me that I don't already know? How is the OnlyFans girl exploiting me?
Dude, you're not an OnlyFans like person that would fall into that.
To be clear, I have 2 active OnlyFans subscriptions right now, so I am one of these dispossessed
you have
men.
A wife,
so
you bang a bunch of chicks, right? You're not the guy that's...
Fuck no, I'm not retarded. I know they're not going to date me.
That's exactly the point.
But they might. I'm actually...
Why are they offering these services?
I should be DMing girls on OnlyFans.
You know what? They probably might.
Okay. But I'm serious. Just for this question, you guys can answer. I'm just trying to figure out, like, if what is the harm of a guy subscribing to OnlyFans to jerk off to exclusive sexual material? What is the harm there? Because Alex, it feels like you, because I feel like there's a difference between
I think we know enough that like we've been talking about it, that he's going to start learning it and getting used to that, and you have this experience right literally at the tip of your fingers that you can just pay for, and you have no rejection, and then you go out into the world. And sure, Farah talked about how maybe there's some small percentage of men who are just on the edge where they're a little bit awkward. They get a little bit of confidence from the OnlyFans thing, and they go out in the real world. But most men are not doing that. And it's creating a pattern where men are not looking for women, women are not looking for men, and we need men and women to be looking to get together in order to have a functioning society. That's why. But let's see what he says.
Position, Alex, what is your position on the harm being caused to people that buy sex from OnlyFans people?
Yeah, I can quantify the harm. So there's many. First of all, porn addiction is a real thing. This is decided thoroughly. So you are engaging in porn addiction. It's desensitizing your dopamine receptors. It's going to make you more likely to have erectile dysfunction. That's also been found. And the biggest thing is you're wasting money and time.
That's not true, Stephanie.
On girls that you will never be able to meet and have a relationship with. And at the end of the day, most guys want a relationship. Most guys want to be with a girl that loves them, and that can never, ever happen on OnlyFans. Farah will not meet up with a single guy from her OnlyFans because she knows that they're all a bunch of loser simps, right? She subconsciously knows that.
Or they're married men who want to keep their infidelity, confined to a screen.
Look at Erudite's face. She's like, I don't know if you want to say that.
So why would they be incentivized to meet up with me?
They're cheating in a more moderate way. They're like, oh, it's better than them going out.
I'm saying you're acting like they're all dying to see me, but I'm saying a lot of them don't actually want to see the models because they're, waiting for their wife to maybe leave the house and they go on OnlyFans.com since they're married.
Do you think if you made it?
This is such cope. And Sippy says, I'm fine with blowing $50 gambling a couple of times a year, sometimes, even sometimes even every other year. I get that year's money back. Well, I'm not that desperate for female attention. So now we're seeing we're seeing a parallel. So what is the difference between blowing $50 once every other year and getting on OnlyFans? Now, if you are somebody who can go gamble, not have an issue, and leave, then great. If you're somebody who can watch porn, watch OnlyFans, and not let it ruin your life, great. The thing is that we're not talking about that. The fact is, we're talking about the people who it does affect. They say gambling is the worst addiction. I had somebody, when I was still in active addiction, I was doing drugs with a guy who used to have a gambling addiction. And he was like, thank God I'm not addicted to gambling anymore. That was hell. That was 11 in the morning. The third day I was awake on a Coke bender when I hadn't eaten. I don't think he was feeling too great either. And yeah, I mean, that's the difference, is that it says gambling is like enjoying getting your dick shocked with a taser. Some people like it, I guess. I think they're blurring the lines and calling it exploitative on all levels. And that's not the okay. So what is the original? A lot of highly successful businesses are exploitative to someone along the supply chain. Exploitative is such a loaded word. Yeah, and that's why we got so many different parameters as, okay, what are we determining is exploitative? And we had to say that first there had to be no informed consent or a dishonest transaction, or all these kinds of things. So it definitely is a vague word. But the same way when I do with the polls for you guys, vague words get us into the weeds. I'm going to say a nicer way to cheat. Weird point. Yeah, I mean, I guess tangentially, it would be better to find out that your husband had an OnlyFans than fucked another girl, I guess. But, not really.
A community post saying, hey, I am now officially down to meet up with everyone on my OnlyFans. How many percentage of them would you think would say, fuck yeah?
I don't know.
Just
I want to hear that one.
To see me, but I'm saying a lot of them don't actually want to see the models because they're, waiting for their wife to maybe leave the house, and they go on OnlyFans.com since they're married.
Do you think if you made a community post saying, hey, I am now officially down to meet up with everyone on my OnlyFans, how many percentage of them would you think would say, fuck yeah?
And again, this goes back to what Erudite said, is it should be 0. It should be abundantly clear that it's 0.
I don't know.
Just ballpark.
A ballpark percent, I don't know.
95 to 99%.
It'd be a lot. Yeah, it'd be 99%, but that's the same for every single streamer too.
Yes.
If I made that post, where do you think my canvassing operations came from?
So Miss Anthropic Ultra says, CT, it says something, that anyone is so comfortable with exploitation being the norm. It is possible that everything being exploitative is contributing to the many problems we deal with in this day and age. Absolutely. Says, okay, as the resident old guy here, this is just horrible. When I was in my teens, you had a group of friends, you would date somebody, and then you date somebody else, and then you end up with somebody. I wish, brother. I wish. Yep, that was way before social media and the iPhone, and we're in a different world now. We are in a different world. Christian said, so if she's saying they weren't married, she would go see them? Potentially. I think there is definitely men who would otherwise cheat if not for OnlyFans. I don't know if all the men who are going to cheat are going to be stopped by OnlyFans, but there's definitely a percentage of men, even if it's only 30% of men who are married, who are on the site. We're still talking at least hundreds of thousands, multiple hundreds of thousands of men. And so if 30% of them are not cheating on their wives because they are good enough to just use OF, I'm not saying that's every guy, but there's got to be some, right? Film said you end up with somebody for a couple years. Now the grass is always greener. Facebook, Snapchat, social media make it so much easier to leave that relation. Don't forget about no-fault divorce. So you said gambling is a thrill, but thrill and adrenaline rush can be very addictive. That was the original point of the analogy. That's why many things can be addictive. So it's either much of nothing or the world is ending.com. Drugs have been a substantial chemical shift. Wanking and playing pretend with dolls, not so much. Shopping attention level finish.
What?
Indian Jesus needs a lady. Make it happen, y'all. Let's go. I am single and ready to mingle.
Go meet me, George, or go knock on doors.
Here's where maybe we're disanalogous. My argument isn't, I'm not concerned about being like, maybe they want to hang out with me. That's again the plight of every streamer. My issue is lying and selling a expected reality that doesn't exist. That's my major concern.
But how does it not exist? It's existing. They're
Because
getting
if
what they
you're
want.
If you're
relationship.
pretending to be a girlfriend in every way functionally, and you haven't even agreed to a GFE experience, which absolutely happens. One of the most common things is you slide into the DM.
Without even being like just talking to other women, not talking to, but hearing other women who are on the platform talk about how they use the platform. It's you have entire what do you call it? Like subreddits of like how to be more whatever on OnlyFans. I mean, let's not bullshit, right? Let's not bullshit. Let's call it what it is.
You say, hey, good morning. There's absolutely this type of engagement with the young men. You are in every way leaning as hard as you can on hoping that they believe that they might be able to meet up with you or have some even long-term real friendship and relationship. And it's not real.
That is so sad. That is so sad. Like, I'm lonely as fuck too, bro. But like, have some fucking dignity. Earn it. Earn it. Because I have to agree on not so bitchy diet.
That's the problem. If it is real, some OnlyFans content creators are like, no, it is real. I actually do want to meet up with people. I do like my community and I do like to hang out and we are friends. That's again different. My entire concern is the ethics of the individual engaging.
Since she has said that the thing about it being the same with streamers and me having a realization like, oh wait, this is a different conversation for me than it is for you guys, and feeling the need to say that. That I'm now comforted as I'm only just now growing, and not my height, but just my channel, and learning where those lines are is difficult. There's no guidebook on like I do want to hang out and talk with you guys all the fucking time, but I also want to make sure that I have a level of responsibility to keep it clear that we can be super tight, but I'm always going to be the one that's here and you're always going to be the one that's there. And again, it's not about better or worse. It's just different. It's just different. And so as long as we all keep that in mind, then it'll stop things from being awkward in the future for me. Misanthropic Ultra said, true mineral exploitation isn't fun to talk about. That too is a problem. Apathy to real problems, hyperfixation on petty shit. Yep. Absolutely.
If you are leaning as hard as you can
okay, on these
to be
two
lying.
things.
Yes.
Okay, so there's an uncomfortable push, or maybe not fair, okay, but I feel like it's pretty central to your argument. How many guys DMing girls actually think they're going to get into a relationship? Because it feels like you're hinging a lot of your argument on the fact that
Instagram or where?
On OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
So my question is probably initially.
Indie film. Advice to you. Thinking that there is anybody left in the world under 35 that is not attached to their phone. They don't exist. Especially not females.
Maybe 1%. The question is.
Wait, 1% what?
Probably
on the fact
On Instagram or where?
On OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
So my question is probably initially maybe 1%. The question is for me. The question for me is if the girl engages in such a way that I am concerned about, how often does that 1% grow to 10 because they are convinced that they're special in that stage? And that's the amount that I'm concerned about.
Boom. There you go. Because we have to talk about the fact that what is today will not be tomorrow. This is why the issues of, oh, well, there's only 7 children in my neighborhood that have transitioned. It's not all these people. Yes, but you want it to be. That's where you're trying to move this. So the Farah and Destiny side, they're trying to get more men and more women to be engaging on this platform. And whether it's exploitative or it's not exploitative, it's certainly not good. Fellas, I'll take someone 35 to 40. Aren't you engaged? Aren't you engaged? All right.
Is if they are lying intentionally to grow the 1% who think it could be a relationship.
Wait, also clarify that. What does
10%.
lying intentionally mean? Saying, I am going to meet you, we can meet one day. Or is it saying good morning?
No, it's so sorry. When I say lying intentionally, I should say things like, you're going to be DMing me, when oftentimes they're hiring like special writers who are coming in to write for them.
Call them in India.
When they're giving them positive affirmations.
Yeah, why is he there? Why is he there? This has been a 2v1, and maybe worse, because Alex has been hurting her arguments.
And they're saying things like, I really love you, you're really special to me. All of these types of things. I understand that it's part of the fantasy, and as long as the fantasy is made explicit, that's fine. The issue is that if they lean as hard as possible to never have to DTR, that's concerning to me.
DTR. They never have to DT. What does DTR mean? I'm glad that I don't know what it means, because it means there's some level of degeneracy that I haven't reached yet. But Basil has a great comment here. It said it doesn't matter. A guy can know the girl is just providing a service, but our subconscious cannot tell the difference. That is why we can watch movies even though we know it's just actors. Exactly. We definitely. I don't know if you're home. I don't know if you're home yet, but we definitely got to have a conversation. Yeah, I mean, well, we saw what happened to the whole red pill community. So are you surprised? Yep. So they don't exist. My son and his fiance are both attached to their phones. They have good values, are definitely not leftist activists, but definitely attached to their phones. I said, shit. Me too. Misanthropic Ultra said there is a meta-ethical debate about where the line between utility and exploitation begins and ends. But that's too much for now. Apparently, because we are all over the place.
I understand what you're
yeah, what does DTR mean? Okay, thank you. Zippy said DTR mean define. Oh, that was the talk. That's what I understood. Okay. You never have to DTR. Okay, that's funny. Oh man, I'm really outside of it.
Fantasy, and as long as the fantasy is made explicit, that's fine. The issue is that if they lean as hard as possible to never have to DTR, that's concerning to me.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, me too.
The different types of behaviors listed are like all over the place, and I can't figure out what we're talking about.
Destiny,
wait, hold on, real quick, just because Erda gave like 3 or 4 different things there.
Go ahead.
Some of these things are like, if a girl is saying like, oh, good morning, your dick is amazing, like, that's a lot different than a girl on OnlyFans saying like, I love you. That's an insane statement. If somebody's saying something like that, I'd be like, that's probably over the line.
Okay, fine. So now we have two ends of a spectrum. Saying, hi, good morning, your dick is beautiful is okay. And saying, we'll just say that I want to meet up and whatever, that's not okay. So the line is somewhere in between. So you just need to now go go a little bit up from good morning, your dick is great, and go a little bit lower from I want to meet up with you, and you'll find that line. Let's see if they actually do that. Indie Film said, I tried to push a no technology Sunday. Weren't having it. Not surprised. But I do. Oh, all right. Never mind. Basil said, incorrect, Destiny. A girl saying she likes your body or parts of it will be taken by men as interest from the girl. Yep. Especially if you're not DTRing. Is that how you say it? Oh, I'm getting old. Zibby said, it sounds like the concern is more about a few instances of plausible honey trap. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's why I was saying in the beginning that it sounds like for this particular question, okay, so for my question, does OF exploit its customers? That answer seems to be no. That doesn't mean that creators can't exploit the customers. And it also doesn't mean that just because it's not direct exploitation, that it is good. We can have something that is bad that is not exploitation. Hey, said I consider my phone to be the abyss that stares back. I'm just testing Nietzsche's ideas. You gotta move. Nietzsche. Oh man, you gotta get to the absurdists. I wish I had a name off the top of my head, but the absurdists are where it's at. Have fun. Have fun with the world. Have fun with the world that means nothing. There is no purpose. There is nothing that matters. But we are still here. So play, my friend. They said I may have to go on a debate with these clowns. I would definitely cover that. Hell yeah. It'd be strange if you are simping and not sleeping with her, then you are very, 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 very beyond dumb.
Of course.
I think we love them for sure, but you're throwing
Camus,
all of this
there
in
you
the
go.
same bag, and I don't even know what we're talking about. Because then, for instance, you say something like, "Oh, they make you feel special." Bartenders
Because
make
there's
you feel
different
special.
levels of it.
Waitresses make you feel special. Like, yeah, making somebody feel special. You want them to feel special. They're a customer, of course. That's the whole point of anything you go to anywhere that has any type of service.
agree with that.
I don't know if I would call that exploitative, and that's why again, and I feel like again, I try not to like push for
Okay,
a specific
can we
number.
start with some basics then?
Well, the only thing that really matters because everything else is so
I guess so. I don't think anybody else really knows what absurdism really is. So shout out to absurdism. I saw this one chick on TikTok who's really into moral philosophy. You know, same kind of thing. Used to be very Christian, and she went and like really studied a whole bunch of different religions as well as moral philosophy. And she was talking about that the stone rock with the googly eyes scene in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and just the way that she explained why that was such a perfect visual representation of absurdism. Brilliant. You've seen that, right, MA? You had to have seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. Basil said, Destiny, pro at poisoning the well. Well, that's the thing. So mainly what we'll do here on this channel is we'll, be watching whatever, and then I'll point, you see what he did there? He's doing that to try to do this, to try to do that, and all that stuff. We've been getting more on the actual meat of the conversation. But yeah, the thing about being good at debating is if you're in a corner, how to use some underhanded tricks that'll go under the radar. Zippy says streaming is bad, but mostly junk. But because it's mostly junk, it's not inherently immoral. What's immoral is your reaction to it. But I guess humans cannot control themselves. Why is streaming bad? I don't think it's mostly junk what I do, but there you go. Stoicism and stoicism, but see, stoicism's boring. Boring. I don't care about my feelings about anything. Nothing matters. Nothing's gonna shake me. Have some fucking fun. None of this shit matters. Let's have some fun. Wait. Who started OM? Erudite. Oh, come on. They said that movie was a bunch of sci-fi hoopla that teach us that gay is okay. I mean, that was such a small part of the movie. If that's what you got out of it, I would definitely suggest watching it again. Zippy Strange said to not feel is the best way to feel. For when you do feel, it's very real. Fair enough. Christian says Destiny makes a comment that is all encompassing. It makes it hard to argue. It derails completely, obfuscating at its finest. Yep, and that's why we gotta call it out when we see it. So let's go back here.
I don't know if I would call it exploitative, and that's why again, and I feel like again, I try not to like push for a specific
Can
number.
we start with some basics then?
Well, the only thing that really matters, because everything else is so hypothetical, is like, what are the percentage of guys that actually think they're pushing towards a real relationship?
Again, my concern isn't the percentage of guys who think they're pushing. My concern is women intentionally trying to.
You sure about that? You're sure about that? Who wants to bet that I've probably read more about stoicism than Soul of the Soul has read about absurdism?
Grow that percent. That's my specific concern.
Hey, shout out to T1000. Welcome to the party. So coming to LA to find Destiny. Okay, well, I'm not a party to that, and don't do anything weird to anybody, please.
Is doing behaviors to try to increase the amount of their original fans who long-term think I might get a relationship. And my suspicion is that the women who are, and I don't want to TOS this, I don't want to have
Sure, we're not talking
OnlyFans
about
going through and
TOS,
be
we're
like,
talking
if
about
you
ethics, but-
rate dicks
Yeah.
and tell them it's beautiful, now you're struck. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be like hyper autistic about this. There are some things I want struck. I want to make sure that there are disclaimers on OnlyFans pages. There's no reason not to. There's no
That's because it wasn't a sci-fi film. It was a philosophy film.
harm in adding it, and all it does is add an extra layer of like explicit protection
Sure.
for like the 1% dumbasses who aren't.
And the
going to
exact same
understand
protection
that.
should be on every single restaurant, every single bar, every single strip club,
I
every
do not
single
think that
massage
these-
parlor.
I do not think
you're-
that these things are analogous at all. People going into a restaurant aren't going in and being like, God, I'm excited to date this waitress. They're going in for food.
Okay, hold on.
What about the
Wait,
strip
hold on. Not only are you wrong, okay, the threat is arguably higher because one of the most important things you learn when you work in restaurants is, for instance, everybody that's employed at a restaurant has had a conversation where managers said, hey, if somebody calls in and they ask about when a female employee gets off and they say they're their dad or their brother, you always hang up where you tell a manager because these are guys that come in, they find girls, they get obsessed, and they try to track them down. I've known at least 3 girls, like
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever worked in the restaurant industry, this is just a normal thing. This is just a normal standard operating. They will call in and say that they're a family member or whatever. Oh, what time does this person get off?
2 years I worked at the casino, they got tracked down in parking lots by men getting obsessed with them in real life. Like,
It is fascinating. Absurdism is just better, in my humble opinion.
trying to follow them home and shit. So I don't know why we wouldn't have these exact same disclaimers in any other place.
Okay.
Do you
where a
think
woman
that
is trying to be friendly towards a-
restaurant settings are analogous to OnlyFans in the type of content that they're expecting, the type of things that they're purchasing,
This is a good question.
and like the entire emotional intimacy that is within that dynamic between the purchaser and the provider?
It's probably worse because they
I-
probably see the restaurant interaction as more authentic.
Yeah, I would argue.
Yeah.
I'm generally stumped. What do you guys think? I'm generally stumped.
Things that they're purchasing, and like the entire emotional intimacy that is within that dynamic between the purchaser and the
It's
provider.
probably worse because they
I-
probably see the restaurant interaction as more authentic.
Yeah,
Do you guys agree or disagree that the person would most likely see? Because I mean it makes sense initially because you're only like at the point of initial contact. Obviously, an OF model, you're going to be very aware of that, but you get sucked in. Whereas the waitress, you're there for an hour or two, and then you go on your way. I don't know. Shout out to Ayush Gupta in the building. Welcome to the party. So she's right. Fair enough. I don't know. Yeah, that the world sucks, and absurdism is the way to enjoy the world. Ms. Santiago said, stoicism is not basically about holding frame. It's internal virtue development and filtering out unuseful externalities. I may have to yell at everyone about this. Fair enough. And so the problem with restaurants is that women have to act very nice to men to get a good tip, but that backfires before low IQ men interpret it as a real interest. Right. So the question is, the percentage of men who interpret it as real interest, does that happen more on OnlyFans or does that happen more in restaurants? I'm really not sure. I don't have a frame of reference for OnlyFans. And I definitely have a strong bias of knowing how creepy dudes could be from working in the restaurant industry for years. So I don't know.
I would argue.
A restaurant. Wait, Farah. What
Wait,
no, hang on. You just went on a 20-minute monologue. Farah, what percentage of your OnlyFans subscribers do you think?
I don't know why you keep asking me for these percentages, but okay.
You've literally just been asking for percentages nonstop. Like, can I ask for 1% at least? So, what percentage of your OnlyFans subscribers do you think believe they're in a quasi relationship with you?
I don't know. I don't get why you're asking me for stats. I don't have stats on.
I know. Just give me your gut feeling. I'm not going to hold you a specific number.
I don't have a study.
Think they're in relationships with
Quasi
me.
relationship.
A lot of them are. I'm not their only model that they're subscribed
That's not an answer
to.
to
So
the
I would
question.
say. I would say zero. I would say I
Zero.
don't. I doubt there's more than one person who subscribed to my OnlyFans who isn't subscribed to another model. So there's.
That again, as he just said, that doesn't mean that you can't be in love with all of them. That is wild. That is wild. Okay, bro. Was an extra in weight. Fuck you.
Doesn't mean they probably think they're in quasi relationships with all these models. You can be delusional.
Okay, then they're not some delusional guy who's just pining for like a monogamous, wholesome relationship with me. They're someone who's
part of a
playing the
liberal.
field.
Why does it matter
Again,
whether
part
they're
of a
monogamous or
liberal,
non-monogamous?
a part of a liberal like society is that there are dumbasses, and we still try to protect dumbasses. Like it is fine to say you're right. Some of these people are dumb fucks.
And like Alex said before, it would be more admirable if you just came out and said, "Yeah, we're exploiting these dumb sims." Yeah,
Fair enough. I agree. The question I have for you.
I didn't say men are mostly creepy overall. I said I've seen how much men can be creepy. Are you trying to argue that men are not creepy? I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Listen, words mean things.
And maybe I'm uninformed. Could you tell me, like, what are the steps that you implement on your platform to make sure that there's a defining of the relationship? That if you feel like the boundaries are getting crossed, where you're like, I think this guy's getting like actually serious about me, that you like draw down the line and be like, just so you know, like, I'm so, you know, and in the nicest way possible, this isn't real though for me. Is there any?
So anyone saying, I would think that based on the percentage, the OnlyFans guys think they're in a real relationship more than the guys that go to Hooters. And that's what I was, that's, you know, initially I was like, Farah said, maybe she's right, but I don't think so. I don't think, I don't think so. Because even though being in a restaurant is a more authentic experience, you're not primed for that. So the waitress would have to really go above and beyond to be like, oh shit, is she into me? Whereas as a normal person, you just think, you know, they're just doing their job. Whereas on OnlyFans, it's specifically to, like Erudite has been saying, to blur the line. And again, if you're just like, yeah, we're blurring the line, it's legal. Get the fuck over it. And be like, all right, it is what it is. Christian said, I used to like Destiny. He's very smart, but then I started seeing how he argues, and now I see right through him. Well, I used to not like Destiny because of his politics, but then I started seeing how he argues, and I mean, I guess I see through him better too. But I see the ability to spread a message, and that's important. And no, I think I think you do. But there's, you know, from different perspectives, you know, if you're not looking for that, then I can totally understand that. But you gotta, from my perspective, you gotta give credit where it's due, and the man can hold a conversation, and even if he's in a bad position, he can, like I said, he can weasel his way out, and that is a skill. That is a skill. Wonderful said, okay, seriously, how is this different than the woke arguments for defending idiots that think they're trans? What do you mean? And who's I'm not sure what you mean. Say a little more on this. Dennis, what are you? Did you want to delete that, or do you want me to pull that up? What do you? So people think that anything? Okay, well, we're gonna skip that then. Any film said, how sad would that be for her to know that there's just hundreds of guys pining for a monogamous relationship, and she just collects a check? No, that's exactly, well, I mean, she's delusional to think that there's no guys there. But there's no guy in that group that she would be like, oh my God, he likes me. She is disgusted with these men. At least that's the perception that I know of any girl that has a page. That's the way that she looks at any of the subscribers. Like, you fucking piece of shit. You downloaded an app. You spent $5 on some titties when you could go on another website for free. That's the way they think about it. But she's just too stupid to realize that, you know, this is only good for right now. For right now. This streamer is a woke SJW libcuck spearheading a movement against loud and proud men. I'm on to you. Bro, literally just go watch anything I've ever done about a day. I just put out a video today that was on fucking woke SJW. What was her name? I'm Vigilant? Or was that yesterday? I was making fun of Jank today, I think. And I got more shit with the Cheesecake Factory lady coming out tomorrow. Unless you remember, it's available right now, but don't leave the stream, obviously. Yeah, I don't know that. Indy that doesn't add up either. Can you imagine the majority of OF consumers are simply pining for companionship? Yeah. I mean, you deleted it, so I'm just gonna move along, Daniel. I used to sit on the bell curve of creepiness. Fringe sections will have more men. Definitely. Well, don't say that, bro, because otherwise T1000 will say you're an SJW. You have to always say that men are the best and women suck and woke sucks and Destiny can't say anything right. There it is. Called it.
Didn't I tell you? Because I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Loser!
Anything that ever happens to kind of draw that firm line and be like, just, you can keep giving me money. I'm happy to keep sending this to you. But what do you do to kind of like ensure that your customers are fully aware of what your role is in the dynamic?
Nothing.
Nothing really. If someone were to ask me, hey, I'm
just going to ask you.
Yeah,
I'm just asking you.
If someone were to ask me, hey, I'm in Miami this weekend, can we meet up? I wouldn't be like, ooh, maybe like another day this week. Like,
Right.
I would.
Okay, so building on what Montefiore is saying, Sibi says, men who use OnlyFans know what they're going to as much as adults who want to become trans. Ooh. So men who use OnlyFans know what they're going to as much as adults who want to become trans. I'm going to say no. But it's in the same realm, but trans is worse. So it's not as much, but it's the same exploitation, if we're going to use that word. It's the same, you think you know what this is. Yeah, I'm changing my gender. Okay, but what does that actually mean for your life to change your gender? Well, I'm going to cut off my titties and then, I'm going to slap on a dick and call myself Larry. I don't think that's going to work out the way you think it is, sweetie. Don't call me sweetie!
How dare you?
So I'm going to say not as much. So not as much, but it's still the same thing. Not as much, but still the same thing. You're saying yes. Anybody else? Of course, nobody else answered. Why would I expect this chat to answer a question? CT, Farah has said she is a virgin. Okay. Not sure that's true, but she says that on Destiny streams. If it's a lie, it's definitely manipulative. I mean, come on. Why is that a trick question? Yeah, I'm trying to ignore this person because they seem to be like a school shooter. So let's just all ignore that. CD said, doesn't matter either way. Just a weird detail for an OF model. They can say they are virgin as long as no penetration in the front hole. Back hole is okay. Top hole is okay. Not. Christian Farah doesn't respond to messages for herself. No, she already said that, we already said, she already said that she signs with an agent. She has an agency. It's standard. It's standard. Again, I'm just going to ignore that. Christian said, I can't believe that she's acting like she does. She's literally building her own Tower of Babel. It is sad to watch. Yep. Who is this aimed at? UF. Unwanted foe. Who is this aimed at? And can you expand on your other Oh, you did. Zippy did it for you. Okay, cool. Yeah. So who's this aimed at?
Wouldn't say that.
Well, you would probably be like, just so you know, I don't meet up with fans.
I would just say no.
Okay.
But would you tell all the people who are paying you money that, hey, I don't meet up with
Basic.
fans? Would you feel comfortable making that post?
That I don't meet up with fans?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true. I met up with guys.
Yes. So if this wasn't clear, Zippy says, I see. It's the long-term effects of being an OF girl is where the exploitation comes from. They're not getting a life's worth of wealth to sustain them after they quit, despite the fact that they are giving away a life's worth of purity. Exactly. Because the problem with trans is that masculinity and femininity are controlled by hormones. Most people do not have cravings to eat dirt, but some people associate dirt with something tasty. Not sure I understand what your bottom line is here, but I do think I agree. Hey, we got Abba Zaba in the building. Welcome to the party. Said hello, Sar. How many rupees did your setup cost, my friend? It was 7,220 2. I think. Well, 7 rupees, because I had to haggle. You know us Indians. Welcome to the party. MA said, I don't think anyone wants to ban OF. The idea would be to get out of this dystopian paradigm where the OF model is even viable.
Bingo.
Exactly. Shout out to Zippy.
Off of Instagram who DM me who don't have a
I'm talking about
following.
OnlyFans.
All right, I want to hear that too, because now she's trying to shift the goalpost.
Probably be like, just so you know, I don't meet up with fans.
I would just say no.
Okay.
But would you tell all the people that are paying you money that, hey, I don't meet up with fans? Would you feel comfortable making that post?
That I don't meet up with fans?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true. I've met up with guys off of Instagram who DM me who don't have a
I'm talking
following.
about OnlyFans.
The question.
So no, I wouldn't make a blanket statement. What if someone really cool follows me?
Then they're not going to be on OnlyFans far. No one really
Exactly. They're not going to be on OnlyFans.
cool uses OnlyFans.
He said he's on OnlyFans.
Well,
I was
case in
with
point,
him.
to be honest.
Oh, yeah,
your
yeah.
entire argument has been defeated because, like, look at how many people are mad at, like, ST Peach and, like, her fucking, the random, like, Asian guy that was like, oh, why is he with this fucking girl? There are people that do
I have
meet
no
on these
idea what that-
platforms.
what that-
That's fine, but there
what
are
that-
people that do meet on these fucking platforms, as weird as it is, or when it happens, or whatever it does. Going back to your other question, though, like,
Sorry, so before it does that, Jesus Christ, my brain is scrambled. I apologize. Basil says, what I meant is that someone who is born male is primed to masculinity, but you can train yourself to enjoy being feminine. And then you think you should be a female, and then it escalates. I mean, that's what they say. Is this true? I don't think that it's true. That's what they say happens, but we're seeing an overwhelm. If you've watched What is a Woman, I covered it in full on the channel. The beginning, I was just kind of sliding through, but you can see the entire movie from my stream. Go check it out. What is a Woman? There was the guy Scott in there who was a detransitioner, born as a female, but now was so far down that it looks like a dude, and I guess goes by Scott or whatever. Was talking about the 7 to 10 year detransition pipeline. That it takes about 7 to 10 years to get over the novelty of all of the new things. The first time you change your pronouns, there's a big bump of oxytocin and all that stuff because everybody's giving you so much praise. Then you go and cut your hair off if you're a girl, or wear a wig, or whatever the fuck it is. And that escalates. And so for 7 to 10 years, there's more steps that you can go. You can chop your dick off. And now you can, do this and facial feminization surgery or whatever the fuck else. And there's always, you're getting reaffirmed. Affirmed. And then it's been a decade. And you're like, oh, fuck. I don't, they told me that I could train myself to enjoy being feminine. But I think that was a lie. That is a lie. No, yeah, this is exactly why what they think. And I mean, I get it. If you're a weird dude, especially today, men get the shit under the stick. If you're a woman, you can do anything. If you're a trans woman, they'll fucking. I'm trying not to get heated on this one. But Dylan Mulvaney was Woman of the Year. What good is Dylan Mulvaney as a human being? Question mark. Woman of the Year. Believe that. I thought I was a libtard. Basil said, my point is that it's mostly a mental issue. I do think xenohormones play into it as well. I'm not too familiar on xenohormones, but I'll have to look into that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a mental issue for sure. So he said, I almost want to say it's like working a dead-end job. Your life is repetitive and bland. The only difference is you have more. If you have more internet infamy, are humans so petty that the infamy would matter much in the long run? Yes. So anytime you want to think about how, shitty your life is, realize that this is a way of life for a large swath of people. Facts. Dylan Mulvaney is a gay man. He isn't a woman.
Beta.
No such thing. Don't tell that to my MGTOW friend. He has legally been listing himself as a trans woman for a year. It's been dope. Okay? I mean, run the system. There's a lot you can gain just by identifying as a woman. What good is gender when everyone can be anything?
Bingo.
Yup.
Pure delusion. No,
wait, hold
these
on.
guys are not meeting girls
Just
from
to be
OnlyFans.
okay, hold on. Your entire informing of this comes very heavily from an incredibly skewed audience of people that are ultra primed to hate OnlyFans more than anything. And a lot of your answers to these questions or engagements are literally just like, I can't fathom that.
Not
like,
really,
that's the
dude.
full stop. Like
The most-
earlier,
the most popular-
you said this. You said
Half my audience is your audience.
that's fine. My audience is delusional too. Okay.
So don't make it about my audience.
I'm just saying.
So then why do you have a better basis for an argument if both our audiences
Because
are
the way
delusional?
that you respond to some of these questions. So, for instance, you said, "Do you think you've got a higher chance of getting with a girl at the restaurant or a girl who's selling intimates on OnlyFans?" The answer
That's
is,
not a question I even asked.
I'm almost positive that I heard you.
She said it.
Erudite asked. She answered that it was probably the restaurant, and then you laughed in response, implying that her answer was ridiculous. You recall that series of events?
I'm asking her a totally different
I mean, you did change the goalpost there a little bit, Destiny, but fair enough.
question.
No, hold on.
There's two conversations.
She asked a question of who you're more likely to feel attracted to, somebody like a restaurant or OnlyFans place. She answered probably the person in the restaurant because in OnlyFans it's clear what you're selling, and then you laughed at her response like it was a ridiculous response. Do you remember the sequence
She
of events?
said, okay, so my laugh is kind of an indication of what, an argument?
That you think that it's more likely that a guy's going to find an OnlyFans girl than a restaurant girl.
I think the whole
than a
thing is
server.
absurd. The idea
No,
that,
don't say the whole thing.
The idea that these guys are meeting up with girls from OnlyFans and they have a realistic chance is zero. Farah will never ever meet up with any of those guys.
That's not what we're, no,
0%
that's not what I'm
chance.
asking. I'm trying to do one line
the idea that 0% of the guys. Wait, the idea that 0% of the guys who
We're not
are
talking
following
about
her. Stop. The idea that 0% of the guys that are following her on OnlyFans actually believe they're in a quasi relationship with her is absurd. That is pure utter BS.
What percent of guys that go to a
probably
restaurant?
The guys who
What
go to a
percentage-
restaurant
what percentage
probably
of
think
guys-
they have a higher chance being in a like one-on-one relationship with the waitress, because that's why I
Yes.
pointed out the fact that the subscribers are subscribed to multiple models.
Again,
I disagree with that analogy.
Hold on, wait. What part do you disagree? Do you think that there are guys that go to restaurants that think that the waitresses actually like them?
Okay, so we're still on the topic of whether or not you're more likely to, as a man, are you more likely to fall in love with the waitress, or are you more in love to fall? Are you more likely to fall in love with the waitress or to fall in love with the OnlyFans model? That's the conversation right now.
Yeah, I think there's a small percentage of guys who do that. But I think the kind of guys that go to restaurants, that's your everyday person. Whereas the kind of people that gravitate towards OnlyFans. It's a very select type of
That's
people.
not true. That's
it's
not
simpy, losery type of
That's
guy.
You don't
not
have any
true.
evidence for that whatsoever, though.
That is
What
not
kind of
true at
evidence do you need?
all.
Do you want me to drag
Anything,
up?
literally any evidence.
Yeah, I gotta. I mean, I get where Alex is coming from, and for the people that he is talking about, then yes, it's damaging for those men way more than it would be for the average man. But as everybody pointed out, that like, dude, you're a dating coach, so your sample size of who you talk to about this is specifically those guys. You have a what's it called? It's a selection bias. So you're not getting a sample size of just random men. It's all just all loser simps that are coming to you because they're loser simps. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I got you guys. Don't worry. I got it. I got you. Waitress is a much better option. Fair enough. Daniel said people want what they can't have. Very true. Very true. And if said, dude, you're more likely to find a waitress that actually likes you and will go home with you over an OnlyFans medal.
Bingo.
Absolutely. Yep. And Ayush agrees. Bezos said only real sick men will fall in love with a waitress. What's wrong with a waitress? Most men are in danger of falling in love with an OF slur. I mean, sure, but why would it be a really sick man to fall in love with a waitress? Particularly if you're a waiter. You typically interact with the people that you spend the most time with. Bet you're just gonna let that one go by, eh? Yeah, he has a selection bias and sell weirdos. And so that doesn't mean that he can't have a point. That doesn't mean that those men don't matter. He just has to acknowledge, in the same way he's like, Farah, it'd be better if it'd be more admirable if you just acknowledge, yeah, I'm profiting off these simps. Alex, it would be more admirable if you'd be like, okay, well, I'm coming from the position of the loser simp, and I'm speaking for that guy. Then we have a different conversation. But that's not what you're doing. You're trying to paint all OnlyFans users that way. And, I'm not mad at that. Get the fuck off OnlyFans. But that's what you're doing.
At all.
I can show you
There's
person after
doctors,
person.
lawyers. There's so many like successful men on
Doctors
OnlyFans.
and lawyers
Okay,
can
I
be
brought a
master simps.
study about the demographics of OnlyFans users, okay? So there we go.
study.
We can stop talking about this. Okay, I agree that it is Gen Pop that says everyone uses porn. It's going to be Gen Pop that accesses OnlyFans. The issue is, what does OnlyFans offer that's unique to porn, that's unique to all of these industries? And I would say it is the intimacy of the dynamic between the two people. It's not just sex. It's intimacy and sex. And I don't even think that that's a problem. I don't hate OnlyFans. I think it's completely fine to sell intimacy. I think the fact that married men are using it at such a high amount suggests to me that it's possibly somewhat of a fill for intimacy. They want validation. And
I don't know, man. I mean, definitely, as I was saying, there's always the dude in the front group. Oh, I think she's into me. But sometimes she's into you. And if she's into you and she's at her job and she's giving you signs, shoot your shot, bro. Shoot your shot. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging the signs that you get. If there's no signs, then don't, then yeah, she's just being nice. But you can tell if you know what you're doing. And they said there are many better options. Simping is only one path. Is that a misspelling of coming, or I don't know what cooming is. Cooming is only one path. There are any others? Do they know the way?
What?
Okay.
that's, again, fine. The only issue that I'm outlining is if people are leaning intentionally into blurring the lines to whether or not this is a fantasy or not. These are the people that are being exploitative, and I'm concerned about a platform that has no oversight that would allow these content creators to exist, and I don't feel like there's an honest conversation about that existing.
I think we're just perceiving OF customers completely differently. Like, you're making it seem like these guys are shelling out money and kind of hope that they'll eventually be in some IRL relationship with the women.
Yeah, and I think that, this is what Emmy's talking about, is something that should be brought up. And it kind of was, but I think it bears, at least while you have a red pill guy at the table, it bears asking what really is the difference. Now, I'm not saying there's no differences. I'm not saying there's no differences at all, because you can certainly get actionable help from the worst red pill coach ever. You can. I'm not saying you will. I'm saying you can. And simple things like, oh, you need to work out more and stop being a bitch and things like that. Like, okay, if you don't know not to be a bitch, if you don't know that you should be working out, like, I know I'm not doing it, but I know that I should be. If you don't know that you should be, then that's good advice. But like we said before, the priming for your opinion on all of this to be from these loser simps is a point. And then also, what Emma is saying about he's profiting off them too. Is he exploiting them? Maybe not. Maybe a little bit, but not to the same degree that she is. Worth in talking about. Love you too, buddy. Just please really don't do anything weird. You came in hot, and I would really hope to not be connected to anything like that. Ayush says, I still don't understand. Even as a customer, you're better off approaching the waitress. Maybe not when you're the customer. You can approach on a different day. No, I mean, I've shot my shot at work at restaurants that I didn't work at, and it worked out. Like I did. I mean, obviously, I'm not married, but it wasn't some weird, awkward thing. She called me. She texted me or whatever, but you know what I mean? CT said, I served tables for 6 years. The way my female coworkers get treated compared to me was definitely different. And I suspect the reason why. I wonder. Lots of guys leaves a big tip, and they're number 2. Yep. And the team 1000, that's all I was saying before, is that, like, dude, I don't think that most dudes are creepy. I'm just saying, waitresses will get a higher percentage of creepiness than your average woman. 2024 will be the year of Simpson incels turning on the red pill coaches. Enter the black pill coach industry, where losers will pay to be told they will not make it. You might be right. Oh man. Basil said, Ayush, you might be able to do it if you know how to approach. There you go. If I were to try at all, would basically be when I'm leaving. Walk up to the girl and when you've already paid. If she shows interest, take your shot. If she looks apprehensive, disengage. Yeah, that's all it is. And it's like, as maybe that's it. Like CT, you'd be able to understand the difference between a waitress who's just being a waitress and a waitress who's into you, because you can see how women use that at work from that same position of being a coworker. So maybe being in the industry, it's a little bit different. I don't know. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying maybe. But you can clearly see when it's like, oh, all right, word.
I see it completely oppositely.
No, I assume most people who use it are normal people. Normal people are like, God, she's fucking hot. They get her on TikTok or Instagram.
No, I disagree with that statement.
Okay, well, you can disagree there.
I hate to agree with the fucking Owen Wilson red pill coach here, but I don't know how normal. I mean, there's definitely normal dudes on there, but it certainly skews to a degenerate, at least a little bit. No, we're just saying it's straight bell curve. I don't think so. CT said it's still not cool. They want the tip, so there's an imbalance in the power dynamic. They don't want to deny the guy and lose out on the tip. That's why. There you go. You beat me to it. There you go. There you go. MA said, if a red pill simp asks too many questions, they are already told they will not make it. Also, that's what incels commiserate about all day, every day. Again, there are better ways. Yeah, I went, I mean, I don't necessarily have have anything bad to say about the MGTOW lifestyle. I tried it for a little while, and I haven't subbed on anybody, but I've been a little bit more active in talking to people and like trying to put myself out there a little bit more, which I only kind of stepped back because of the landscape of everything. And I was just like, bro, like this shit just ain't worth it. Let me get my money up. Let me get my weight up, and then we'll see what's good. But sorry, I like talking to ladies. I got a tip for the cocktail waitress and not the monetary kind. Good one. Well, again, approach with caution, but if you know, you know.
They go on her Instagram, they see her in a cute bunny outfit, and they're like, what do her titties look like?
Normal guys
Always,
have sex
of
with
course.
girls, or they jerk off to porn. Normal guys don't pay for girl OnlyFans. That's not a normal guy. That's a very special,
decade before the advent of
lonely
OnlyFans,
type
16% of
guy.
American men were paying for IRL sex. They were paying for prostitutes. That's 16%.
That's also a very special type of guy. 60% of men were paying for sex.
16% is pretty
16
high.
or 60?
16.
Okay, yeah, I can
that's
believe 16. Sure.
And a lot of them would seek them out also for the intimacy. Should the prostitute be saying at the start of every session, by the way, we're not actually dating? No, because it's understood that the man doesn't want an actual relationship.
It's a fair exchange.
He wants like a flattened relationship.
I'm giving you money, $300. You're having sex with me.
So that's the issue. You see OnlyFans is an unfair exchange because you're not getting actual sex.
Because these guys are getting something. They think they're getting something, but they're not getting that.
Why not?
That's why you have to know the signal that where she's not like doing the flirty thing. I don't know how to explain it. But like, it's not every time I have a hot waitress do I shoot my shot. It's specifically if I see the signs. But I guess, see, that's like a Dr. Evil Genius type of thing. Dr. Evil Genius to be able to articulate exactly what we need. Shout out to the Talking Shit podcast. Let me drop their link. Definitely go check them out. Good friends of the channel. May said, do cocktail waitresses even still exist? Yeah, of course. Bro, do you have a 50s pinup gal in your garage wall? Or live in... Savage. So I can't believe I have to agree with those two on the left-hand side. Yep. I mean, it burns, but when they're right, they're right. And if we don't let them be right when they're right, then we're just as bad as them. Anyway, so I feel like, unfortunately, today there has to be some outlet for the 1% of guys who could have had the 1% of women and now have no chance. Agreed. But what does that look like, right? All right, we'll get to we're gonna wind it down.
Not
a little
getting
bit.
something.
Because you're not going to date them. You're not going to meet up with them.
The prostitute isn't dating them. So you're saying sex is okay, but the photos aren't? That's exploitative because I'm not giving them like...
It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with expectations.
You said the prostitute's giving them something, and I'm not.
She's giving him sex. And
you're conflating sex with romantic relationship. You just said
those
before
guys
romantic relationship.
No one goes to a prostitute for love. Those guys are paying for sex and they're getting sex.
Well,
They're
paying for my content and they're getting content.
Okay, can
They're paying
I?
for more than that. Why would they pay for content if they can just watch porn online for free with 20 million
A
girls
lot
that
of
look
guys
like
don't
you?
go to actual prostitutes for just the sex. They go for the intimacy as well. They go for
But
the
they're not
moral
getting
support.
intimacy.
For sure.
They're
Can I
getting the
ask-
emotional
can I-
support.
can
It's
I
like a
s-
one-sided therapist.
Can I just be real and ask you a
It's
slightly
literally dudes in
different
India
question?
messaging them, giving emotional support.
All right, so let's see where she takes this. If it's going to be something interesting, they're starting to loop on things. So if she's going to take it in a different direction, then we'll stick around for a little while. I know we're almost at 3.5 hours, but you guys have been so generous. I want to keep rolling. But if yeah, her cuteness is a trick. Resist. But I do want to make sure we have time for the after party. And if you are not already a channel member, that is the only way to get the full effect of the Discord server where the party never ends. That's right, 24/7. We are in there hanging out, chatting, having conversations, having a good old time. And after every single live stream, we go in there for an after party where you're not just stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. You can come up if you want to. You don't have to. Either way, it's a good time. Come and join us.
Okay, go ahead.
Do
Sorry.
you think, I'm curious, because again, maybe I don't know. Do you think that there are women in the space that absolutely avoid some sort of defining the relationship or defining boundaries type conversation with the people paying them in hopes of making sure that their relationship is blurry as possible for as long as possible in hopes that they'll get more money from it?
Yeah, so she's basically saying, are there creators on the platform that are purposely blurring the line so that they can keep it going further? Because if they had the talk, then it would be like, no, this is not real. It'd be like, oh, okay, and leave. So Erudite is asking Farah, are there any women who do that at all? Time to yell. Yeah, we're getting there. CT just said her own argument. Guys go for a call girl for the emotional intimacy. That's the same reason they go to OnlyFans. Anybody can hit P-Hub. They go to OF for the personalized experience. Fair enough.
Do you think that behavior occurs some of?
I'm sure it exists. Whether I would qualify that as exploitative is a
Sure. Yeah, I'm not asking you to agree with
yeah.
exploitation. So that does exist. Would you agree that there are also girls who probably do things like lean really hard into the girlfriend experience without ever even labeling it GFE with the guy who's interacting with them? Some girls label, I offer GFE, right? Girlfriend experience.
Mm-hmm.
And some girls
You're going to say
probably
no
don't,
girls?
but act like a girlfriend in every way without labeling
By sending
it as
like the
such.
good morning and good night.
Sending good
texts.
morning, good nights. Yeah, you're so special to
Do you
me.
think like putting the caveat, by the way, this is a girlfriend experience, somehow disillusions the men in a way that's
Yes,
fair
yes.
for them?
If they are defining the relationship being like, hey, just so you know, I'm offering girlfriend experience. That's the type of porn that I do. I think it immediately dispels a huge bunch of my concerns.
Oh, shout out to Indie Film. Oh my God. The $15 super chat. Say keep it rolling. And I'm an OF slore, so I gotta do it. No, you're a slore too, okay? We're in this together. Making me take all the dicks. We ride with a new sponsor of the stream. Thank you. So much, sir. Very, very, very much appreciated.
Okay, so for instance, on my OnlyFans, I offer something called like 20-minute dates. So it's clear it's not a real date because you're paying for it, and then I'll like talk.
20-minute date. How much could that possibly? Seriously, how much would that be? Somebody who knows, just fucking man up and how much is that shit? Oh, you're not a capitalization. Indie Film with the $15 super chat. Thank you, brother. Very, 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 very much appreciated. Anybody know? Yeah, you know, right? And he gets a treat for every single super chat. He's feeling not so good today, but these are all his treats. He earned all of them. Thanks to you guys. Thank you. Miss Antarctica also said AI relationship chatbots have high numbers with women. OF has high numbers with men. So women want 100% robots and men want pretty liars. Sounds about right.
Talk to you for 20 minutes. So are you saying that like me labeling it as that versus just entering the date with them is non-exploitative?
But it's not a date.
Like it's just the label?
It's not a date. It's a therapy session or hangout session. It's not a date. A date implies there's romantic interest or potential romantic interest.
So
on
I should
ours.
label it
There's
20-minute
no
fake date
percentage.
in which I exploit
yes, it is
you.
a fake date.
Okay.
Yeah,
It is a fake
I think
date.
that would
which-
actually sell. I think the Dommy Mommy vibes would sell.
It is
super hard, if
absolutely
I'm being
fake date
honest.
because you have
There's a lot of guys who would buy that.
zero,
So even though they
intent
know the
to have
parameters of the
anything.
20-minute interaction, I'm still exploiting them by labeling it a 20-minute date.
I don't
It's not a
know.
real date though.
I'm not okay. hold on. I'm not
Okay.
concerned about branding. If the 20-minute date, first of all, is you, right?
I thought you were concerned about branding because you were saying labeling as GFB is what makes it non-exploitative.
It's not about branding. Branding is about aesthetic. I am concerned about explicit boundaries, right? So things like rules of my channel. So I'm sure lots of girls have rules of my channel, what you can and can't send them. I'd love for there somewhere to be in there being like, just so you know as well, I'm never going to date you. You need to
I hate it because she's such my type. She's such my type. Like if she's short, and I met her, I'd fall in love. Jesus fucking Christ.
come in with that assumption. And like, if they notice men pushing that line, rather than leaning into it and keeping it as blurry as possible for as long as possible, I mean like, hee, I know he's in love with me, but like, I'm just gonna like keep this going. At some point having a conversation, being like, just so you know, this isn't explicit. Because in that OnlyFans Reddit thread, which I found there's multiple girls saying, I know all these men are in love with me. And there was a couple girls saying, that's really not good. I always tell these men that this isn't real.
And I bet you they got downvoted to shit.
And they got downvoted like crazy.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Because I told you.
I just know things. I just know
so
things.
that's concerning to me about the culture and nature of OnlyFans giving each other, at least on this subreddit, advice about how to engage, that they're downvoting the one person who being like, let's just be explicit about the nature of our relationship. That's concerning. And that suggests to me that in OnlyFans, there is this culture of going, let's lean into blurry relationships as much as possible. And there is one reason that you're doing that.
So she's definitely my type. She looks like a large vaginal cavity. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what you're trying to say about her looks. But okay. It's only simping if you fucking give her the attention. She's not here. She don't fucking know. She ain't gonna watch this shit. It doesn't make, I'm not any less attracted to her by saying anything, by not saying anything to you guys. I'm not gonna go,
oh, Erudite, I just wanted to let you know that I covered your debate and it was, you were just so pretty.
Obviously, I'm not gonna fucking do that. I'm just talking to you guys. She's fucking hot. Christian said, I wish they would bring up Farah's OnlyFans right now. Yeah, that's what we should be getting into. The specifics. Like, okay, so what do you do? Are you exploiting people? But she don't want to do that. OF it all has 5 years till they are all replaced by AI. That's when mankind is over. Yep. She said, I'm looking at it right now. I wish I could post a picture of her messages that she sends every day. Right now, you can do that in the Indian Jesus Discord server, which is free to join. We got a free channel. If you just want to peek and check it out, we'd love to check those out. But we do have a not safe for work channel where those would fit perfectly. Okay. All right, I'm spending too long on this. I don't care. I'm into it. No, I get that, but like, that's not a thing. There's not a look to a girl that have wide vaginas. That's not a thing. So, damn straight. Ooh, I could change that real quick though. Or yeah, just link it up.
And that's concerning.
Can we just call it what it is? It's how we can take the most amount of money from random sims on the internet. That is what.
Okay, guy. We understand your position. We understand you have not said anything new since we started. We get it.
I don't see it.
Of course, you're not going to respond to that.
Because she's speaking to me and I'm responding.
YouTuber, by the way, just that what you just said is
no, it's not.
Stream. Yes, it is. Of course it is. What do you mean?
How are you doing that?
You're trying to.
Wait, what did he accuse him of?
I don't see it.
Of course, you're not going to respond to that.
Because she's speaking to me and I'm responding.
YouTuber, by the way, just that what you just said is
no, it's not.
Stream. Yes, it is. Of course it is. What do you mean?
How are you doing that?
You're trying to maximize your engagement with your audience, make them pay you as much money.
Let's go! All right, now we were getting into exactly what we're saying. Is the red pill coach just as less or more exploitative than the OnlyFans girl? Shout out to Snuggles. Welcome to the party. Good. We had so Ben said, I actually meant it in the medical sense. Usually if they have spaced out eyes and big lips, they're who cares? Like,
You're providing them entertainment. They know exactly what they're getting.
They know what they're getting. You
Listen, do you
filed
think
a
your
chargeback
subscribers
if you
think that they're
scam
dating
someone
you?
on
It's a good rule of thumb. We typically keep it for people on the panel in the chat. The people in the video don't count because they're so much bigger. But good rule of thumb. Basil said, "Oh yeah, Destiny, and that's not what you're doing. What an asset." I mean, he's not specifically seeking out men who are in a bad position and saying, "I can fix your bad position." That's specifically what he's doing. What Alex is doing.
This is the issue that everybody, and I don't know if you engage with sex or porn or whatever in a different way, but like this is the issue that everybody runs into. You keep saying that the only way that you can pay for OnlyFans stuff is to get scammed because you're not getting what you actually want. But you can't even seem to fathom the idea that maybe they're getting exactly what they want. Maybe they want to chat with somebody that they don't even know if it's actually a girl or not.
Just so clear, that is not my position.
Me and Kyle argue from two different perspectives. I don't even have the disclaimers. So basically what it comes down to is yes, they're getting something, but they're not actually getting that. Like, okay, here's a simple analogy.
They're literally
let's say I meet a girl.
Yeah, you have to make that argument. Like I'm good one. I'm willing to give credence to the position that they think they're getting one thing and they're getting something else. The same way that the guy who thinks that they wanted that he wants to go. Come on, you're distracting me. Go. The guy who wants to cut off his dick thinks that he understands what's going to come from being a woman, but and the guy who's never done heroin, who's sold heroin, to use the examples that we've been using throughout, that guy thinks he understands the concept of doing heroin, but he has no frame of reference to understand what is it like to be a heroin addict. And so those, the fact is, if you can't prove that these people understand or don't understand, and you're going to hang your hat on the fact that they don't understand, then you're not making the argument. Even if I agree with you that I think they, that it may be right or wrong, but it is exploitative. That costs money, baby.
Right? And I lead her on to think that I want to date her. Like, let's just say I never explicitly say that, but I'm kind of a lovey-dovey. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I see blah, blah, blah. But I never say explicitly, I'm implicit, just so I can bang her. Then I bang her. Was I exploitative towards her if I had no actual desire to have a relationship?
Yes.
Okay, good. So
it's just not analogous.
Wait. Hold on. Let's say that you did that exact same thing. Okay, that exact same behavior. You took her to dinner. You told her a bunch of romantic things, and then you fucked her, and then you ghosted her, right? You think that's exploitation, right?
Wait, who just DM'd me?
If I led her on to think there's going to be a relationship, yeah.
Okay, let's say that she found your number from a website that says www.fuckboysthatwilltakeadvantageofyouandleaveyou.com. Would it be exploitation then?
No, because then she knows what she's getting.
Okay.
It's not. I can show. There's nothing really in here. I don't know. Copy link. Let's do that. There's nothing wrong with this, right? This is just
for help. They've scripted everything out to give you.
What the hell? That's not what I wanted to do. Copy link. There we go. All right, what do we got here? So we're looking. I did it. Nate. Okay, that's someone else. So her shit. Good morning. You should start your day off right with my perfect tits in your face. Sometimes when I drink, my clothes start falling off. And then we got call me like. You want to be bad with me tonight? Fun fact about me, I'm just a whore who's about to make you bust. If any of you are paying for this is a girlfriend experience? Have you ever had a girlfriend? This is not anything. This is nothing. $14.99. God damn. Yeah, that's that's this chick. Jesus Christ. $15. I mean, I'd hit it. I'm not saying I wouldn't hit it, but $15? Come on. Yeah, right. Well, technically that was for it was for an album that had 34. Do I still have it open or did I close it? Yeah. So this is, if you look closely, 34 picks for $15. So, I mean, you know, I think this argument has been destroyed. What is wrong with the world? What is wrong with the world? Gay indeed. Money makes me horny. First of all, it's not. I was doing this on, like I said, in AOL, perhaps to an old fat dude in 2003, 4, maybe? That's 20 years ago. This is not new anything. This is exactly what was happening on AOL chat rooms 20 years ago. Yep. Jesus Christ. Indian Jesus Christ. All right.
You're on OnlyFans. The girl's page is public. What else do you need?
These guys think they're getting they think they're in a quasi relationship with the girl.
And some people think that when they take LSD, they can fly. I mean, I don't know what the point of that statement is. There might be some guys that
no, but there's not 1%. It's like a solid 40-50%.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. That's a fact of the matter that needs to be established because your whole argument hinges on that. Do you think 40 to 50% of guys that subscribe to OnlyFans think they're actually going to date one of those girls?
They have deluded themselves thinking they're in a quasi relationship with the girl. Why else would they give her so much money?
So how can you substantiate that? Because especially with the liberals across the table and sitting right next to one, they are going to ask you for is how do you know that? In the same way that any of you are going to tell me, oh, God does this, God does this. Okay, great. I am more than willing to accept your premise. How do you know that?
Because the point is unique, because the experience is exclusive or unique. And
there's so much porn on the internet. You can literally watch a new video every hour and you'll still never run out of porn.
Exactly. So there's no exploitation because there's no monopoly on sexual voyeurism. That's the whole point.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. Good.
No, yeah, that was it.
Okay.
You
keep using this argument.
Sorry. Okay, I'll shut up. I can tell Kyle's getting a little frustrated. So go ahead.
Also, you keep using this argument that like there's porn on the internet. That doesn't make sense. There's other stuff that you could pay for. That's like saying like, why would you play this video game when XYZ video game is free?
The whole point I'm making.
I mean, if the game is that much better, then yeah. But if it's not, and it's two relatively equal games, then that's a very reasonable question. Why would you pay for this video game when you can get a very similar video game for free?
Is because the guys who just want to like jerk off to some video, they will watch porn. The guys that go to OnlyFans, the reason OnlyFans is taking off so much.
It's a dating site. Why don't they go on Tinder?
Some of them do.
Why don't they go on seeking arrangements? If they actually want a relationship, they can get a sugar baby if they're shelling out so much money.
Well, to Erudite's point, because y'all are blurring the lines. Making it seem like it's the same thing.
Real relationship either, but yeah, so they can.
But they're getting slang out of it by your definition. They're going on OnlyFans for that specific model who they see on their Explore page, and they want to see her tits specifically.
I'm just disproving Destiny's point. The whole idea they're going there is just to get content, right? Sure, some of them. Well, I'm about to. I will acknowledge that there's a small percentage of men, maybe 30, maybe 40%, who know exactly what's up. It's like, hey, listen, this girl will never date me. I'm not in an actual relationship with her. I'm just basically wasting my time doing this, and I'm okay with that because I hate my life. That's fine, but that's not a lot of the men on there. A lot of these men on there have deluded themselves into thinking, hey, this girl Farah really likes me.
How do you know that? Again, I agree that is what's happening. But if you are presenting that in an academic setting, then you have to have something. You have to have something to be like, this is how I know that. Exactly. That they chose it. So like you have to have some other aspect of exploitation.
Money. Let me do one of these dates with her. Maybe
I
can
have this whole line of argumentation fails without you being able to substantiate that.
How do you want me to substantiate?
What did I say? What did I say?
I told you. What did I tell you?
I know all. I know all.
Literally any number, any study,
I can give you anecdote after anecdote of people I met.
That's great. So back to your point,
I
don't think there's an expectation on the OnlyFans girl to outline that like I'm never gonna date you or anything like that, because like I said, I think a big attraction for sex work is that you're giving that fantasy, and I don't think that's exploitative.
I'm not.
Same way, do you think like if a John goes to a strip club, that the stripper should be morally obligated to tell him, by the way, I'm not actually interested in you?
The issue is that strip clubs have so much implied disclaimer, because all of this is about disclaimer.
Implied disclaimers.
That's a weak term to use. An implied disclaimer. It's an app. You have to download the app. If that's not an implied disclaimer, then the sign outside is the same thing. So if you're going to use that as an implied disclaimer, then they are obviously going to be able to say, well, then, the fact that it's on, you have to download it, knowing and agree to the terms of service. You don't have to agree to any terms of service when you walk into a strip club. I mean, you don't have to sign anything or anything like that. So the implied part, that is a losing argument.
Absolutely. If you're going to a strip club, there's a 6'4" security guy with a no touch policy, right? There's so many levels of why.
I live in Jersey and I've only been to a strip club like 3 times, but I've never seen any kind of sign like that. I'm not sure what the rules are. They did get nude, and obviously the back room is a back room, but I'm not sure. If any of you guys are strip club guys, then I don't know how forthcoming they are with the no touch policy if they have it.
This isn't going to become a relationship. And to be honest, there's probably some element within the strip club where they also lean into the blurry relationship that does concern.
There you go. There you go. That's where you have to say. So you have to say, fine. If they're the same and both are bad and both are exploitative, then we have a point we can agree on. But saying one is this and one is that, when they're essentially the same goddamn thing, you're going to lose.
I'm going to agree. Can I ask you a question about one of these posts that
You already did.
So this girl says, I had a guy fall in love with me where he gave me a lot of his money to me on his birthday. He recorded a video of himself idolizing me. He idolized this fake lifestyle that I was portraying on OnlyFans and Instagram, which in turn motivated him to change his life. But behind all this, it's sad to say, you just go along with it without giving it a thought. As long as you ain't got your real identity somehow linked to your OnlyFans ID, I would just go along with his obsession. Part of the work, I guess. But do what makes you feel comfortable. And this was literally a very recent post. I didn't dig for that one by any means. This is just
what's
one
the name of
post
the
I found.
subreddit? Where's this coming from?
OnlyFans advice.
Okay.
r/OnlyFans advice.
Do I think she's necessarily someone who is a good person in the sense that she cares about her customers? Probably not. Do I think that guy is being exploited? No.
Wait, Farah, where can I find the survey you mentioned? I was just quickly trying to find something along the lines of that, and I didn't see it. Where's that study? The study that you mentioned.
Which one?
It was Littman 2023, right?
Littman, Leicester, 2023, Journal of Sexuality and Culture.
Yeah.
That's where it talks about the benefits of going on OnlyFans.
So see, they only referenced that study in Psychology Today. It wasn't originally from Psychology Today.
Or improves your relationship with your partner. If both partners are on board, it improves your sex life. It opens you up to
That's a big if. You didn't mention that part. If both partners are on board, that's a big if.
This is the biggest horseshit ever.
So, okay, if we want to go into the data, I've read through that study. I've read through those studies. So the issue is that it's complicated. So OnlyFans tends to improve your life when you're more liberal, when you're more open to sex, and when you have a healthy relationship with sex. We tend to see a positive benefit. But if you go into more conservative areas, because there's another study by Casey and somebody, I can't remember the other last name, from 2018 that found almost the exact reverse opposite. But when you look at the two studies, their sample populations, I think one of them is in Alabama and the other one's in California. So a lot part of is OnlyFans a net good? I would just say the fact that it makes women so safe in their sex work is just a net good. That's enough for me to be of course we only.
So this is where they're going to start getting into that aspect of the conversation. And I think it's another version of this liberal short-term thinking that, yes, it is safer for sex workers to work behind a phone than to walk the streets. But it's better to have a society with less sex workers. So making more sex workers, even if it's a safer form of sex work, is still a bad thing. This anthropologist has a good point here, I read the first 2 words and I have a feeling I know where he's going. So he says, if it's mutually exploitative, it's transactional. The problem is not power imbalance. It's not simply about deception in marketing or ridiculous expectations. It's about the degradation of human relationships. I knew I'd agree with you, brother. Well stated. If it's mutually exploitative, it's simply a transaction. And therefore, not exploitative. Well said. Well said. Zibby said, though I do concede the point, the women are losing out as the wealth they gain does not offset the long-term losses, and thus the process is exploitative. Christian says, this is exactly what I was saying earlier about the study and the sample size. Yep. Well, she conveniently left out the part that it was, well, if you have a good relationship and you use OnlyFans, then it's good for men. Oh, okay, great. That's not really what we're talking about. but thanks for the info. But shout out to all the new people here. It's always good to see new people. Shout out to Christian, who was very forthcoming about, hey, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But shout out to him. He stuck around. I think we are gonna have a good time together, brother. And of course, all of you guys are looming very, very, very large in my heart. So I'm just gonna go through. We started off hot. We started off hot with Indie Film. Indie Film outsponsored himself. And then we had Zippy gifting a membership. We also had Trey Williams with the $1.99 and another gift from Zippy the Strange. We had Basil, the Pumpin' Seagull, come in with the Canadian 5, backed it up with another Canadian 5. We had our comment of the night from Mythanthropic Altruist. Shame is a handy social tool. It can certainly be abused, but it shouldn't be abandoned. We had one from our boy Christian Packard. Honesty is the best policy. Indeed, indeed. And of course, our sponsor of the stream, Indie Film. Starting off strong, ending strong, brother. Thank you. Thank you all so much. So much. I can't tell you how much it means to have all of these messages to show, hey, I'm getting value out of what you're doing, Lutch. What you're doing, I enjoy this. What you're doing means something to me. The fact that you're willing to say that and back that up means everything to me and gives me the excitement to be like, all right, we are doing this thing. Let's keep it riding. Let's keep it rolling. Exactly. We gonna keep at it. I ain't going nowhere. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm gonna be right here. And I'm trying. I'm doing my best every week to do at least one member stream. And then of course, we got Discord 24/7, always popping. Again, we do have the free channel, so if you just kind of want to check out what it's all about, you can join for free. And there is the free chat there. But if you want to be part of the disciple chat, see how Darian is keeping up with current events. We got our watch party channel. We have our after party video chat channel. All of that kind of stuff. We got contests. We got members only videos and streams. Guys, it is a grand old time. If you had fun doing this, you will definitely have fun doing that, and you will support a great cause in the process. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Once again, I have been your host, Lutch. This has been Morty. And I was supposed to do that the other way. Let's try it again. Once again, this has been Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. See, he always knows. Peace. Watch this if you haven't watched it.